Hey, hello. Happy Monday, everybody. Can you guys hear me out there? Anybody out there? I'm just make sure my mic is on so I'm not speaking to the mute button. Hey, listen, I have an interesting show today. And I'm sure once everybody gets warmed up, I guess 7 o'clock is still young for you folks. I mean, it's still early. I know people are working out there and maybe one day you'll understand that when all 24 hours becomes yours and you can stay home and make your own hours. Oh, I'm gonna put the lights up so you can see my beard. I mean, I saw some video of me without the beard on. Now I'm still torn. I may be shaving soon. But anyway, I'm gonna still keep fooling around with this daggone thing for a while. Anyway, hey, listen. So you guys seen the title of the show? Uh, you know, when's the last time your lady made you a sandwich? And this is not just again, I want to put uh, some warnings out there, at least to let everybody know this is not going to be a female bashing session. I don't like those kind of things. And you know what? And it's not going to be a session where I think men need to be coddled and told and have women let us know what they think about us every moment of the day. But I have a couple of questions about what women think about men. And what do they think they deserve, or what do they think they're going to give men for all the things they expect us to do for them? And I want to get into some of that. I got a couple of videos that we'll probably show later on in the show when we get some more people in the chat. And so, so just take that into consideration when we're talking. One, we're not going to bash any women here today. That's one. Two, this session is not a session that says men need to be coddled or constantly reassured how much you guys love us and all that kind of stuff. I think both of us are wired to be the way we are at the base level. And it's only social media that makes that seem like it's unusual. Okay, so um, one of the things I do, so being around for a year, it's pretty much been a little over a year for me to be on these YouTube spaces. I know some people have been here a lot longer. And one thing I did notice that I want to talk about is that in all these panels, when there's panels full of women, um, and, or a majority of women, it always seems that they have a lot of expectations of men, and they feel and they readily mention what they expect. But very few panels do you hear, women say what they are willing to do for the man that they want to marry, or for the man that I want to just say marry. Forget about relationship. For the man that they want to be, if they want to be married, what are you going to do for that guy who gives you all the things you think you require and need out of a good man? Uh, uh, a man on his purpose and all that. So it's very rare do you hear a woman talk about what she's going to give him. Now, Take Heed is one of the ladies that she readily extols the virtues of her man. I would imagine Security Boss does a little bit of that. And some of the other ladies are coming up, but for the most part, you very rarely hear what women are willing to give to get what they desire from a guy. And so when I talk about when's the last time your lady made you a sandwich, it's really a metaphor. It's really a metaphor for how women the expectations women have of men and what they think they need to give in return, you know, in order for them to keep that man. And so I wanted to chop that up with some of the fellas today. If a couple of guys come up, we could talk about that. And and then I have some things I want to talk about that's a little deep, and I'll keep coming back to that point. What is a woman willing to do to show her man appreciation? What is it? You know, and like I said, the I believe that talking about whether a woman will make a man a sandwich is a better metaphor than saying I need my wife to cook and clean. And the reason why I say that is because that whole adage of a good wife cooks and cleans is kind of passe, right? Because if you think about it, if you have your wife out there working 40 hours a week, 30 hours a week, or whatever, if her money is required to keep the household running, can you really demand that, she does all the chores and shit in the house, or do you naturally chip in? See, because I believe that men in general chip in around the house. I think on these YouTube spaces, I think is a big lie that men think that, just have their wives working and coming home and doing all double duty and they don't do anything. I just think that's a lie. I really do. For the most part, I think that's just a YouTube talking point, to score points and gaslighting on panels. Because most men, like me, I can only look at myself and some of the guys I do know. I've been pretty much the breadwinner in my house, but I've always done chores in the house. I mean, always. Now, my wife didn't have to ask me. I had to do my part. I have an office. I clean my office. I have a man cave. I clean that. So I didn't need her to do that. I cook. I cook Sunday meals. I'm on the grill. She doesn't even touch the grill in the summertime, and I smoke a lot of stuff. So I don't necessarily need her to cook and clean for me. That's not why I married her. I've been cooking ever since I've been in college, uh, especially for the ladies. So that's just something I always did. So what the point I'm trying to make is that when you look at the dynamics between married couples, they say that a man is the primary and sole breadwinner 55% of the time. And they didn't really distinguish that 55%. How much is he the prime, not between the primary and sole? I think it's around 26% as a sole breadwinner for the man. And the rest is primary in various degrees, 80%, 30, 70%, 60%, and the woman pays the rest. So, and uh, then they say that 29% uh, of the married couples are equal pay. So if she's, bringing in the same amount of money you're bringing in, then it takes both of you to keep a household running. And it does that anyway, no matter what. So in that scenario, it doesn't even make sense that you have a woman paying double duty and you don't do anything in terms of the chores. And so what's your expectations of how much she's going to cater to you depends on how much pressure you take off of her shoulders because she's working just as hard as you do. You know what I'm saying? So if you were the sole breadwinner, you would expect a little bit more treatment, better treatment than if you have her out toiling just like you, because she's coming home tired and all that kind of stuff. So as a man, what do you need to do to make sure that she does the things you need her to do for you when she's tired? And then, of course, this number is higher than I thought. They say 16% of the women nowadays are sole breadwinners in their marriage. 16%. I thought that was pretty high. This is all Pew Research. So they say 16% is like three times what it was 50 years ago. And that makes sense, right? So just kind of bringing it back home, in order to get good treatment from your woman, right? I think whether she says something verbally or just caters to you, I think depends on how much pressure is on her shoulders and how much she views you as the guy, who makes her world better. And the question I have is that something that's wired in both of us? Like I said, men, I don't think we necessarily need to be coddled and reassured that our women love us based on words. The actions speak better and louder than words, as the adage goes. But every so often, it'd be nice if your woman sat you down and said, "Hey, you know what? I really appreciate what you do." But how often do we really need to hear that? you know? And then how often do, I think women don't even think about saying it. Just like on these panels, which is just a small microcosm of the real world. It doesn't seem like women are really wired to overly express how much they need their guys. They're going to either show you or they're not going to show you. And every so often they'll tell you. I mean, I could only think about my wife, right? She caters to me all the time. I mean, every day without question. But I maybe count on one hand how many times she sat down and just out of the clear blue and said, I really appreciate everything you do. you know. It's not that I crave that, but it's nice to hear it every so often. So it's kind of weird this dynamic that we have with women and in the best of circumstances. Because I think that a lot of women are pre conditioned or maybe just natural inclination to expect shit from men. I think they expect good treatment from guys. I just think they're wired that way. And I think we're wired to actually give that treatment to women without necessarily hearing them say how much they appreciate it. We rather them just show it with respect and things of that nature. And I had a video on when's the last time your woman made you a sandwich. It was a short, and that kind of gave me an idea that there might be something we could chop up and talk about if some men come on. Hey, hello, how you doing? So hey, was it Mrs. Locke and to smile? Okay, locks to smile. Oh, that's your locks. They're here. Hey, good evening, sis. Thanks for showing up. And I know it's kind of early, man. So everybody tells me it was this show used to be at 6 o'clock. Now it's at 7, but I know a lot of people still coming home from work trying to get situated. I know Black Man Unfiltered is hurrying home. So hey, Black Man, if you're out there listening, man, take your time, man. Don't get into no accidents to get home. Hey, I'll still be here. Um, so one of the questions I do have, and I guess I wanted to wait for a couple of guys to get up here, is that you know when I think about the ladies, I'm just trying to think. When I listen to Crimson Cure, she talks about men have to provide the 4 P's to women, right? Procreation and protection, provision, and problem solving. Not necessarily in that order, but nobody really talks about what four four scarlet letters the women have to give to men. I mean, I'm not talking about the Kevin Samuels fit, feminine and friendly. I mean, that'll do. But I'm saying something that's more culturally, biologically, and environmentally tied to what women should give men in order to have secure that man in your life. And I don't think we think that way. I don't think there's anything. That's why I think most women don't even think about and never hardly express what it is they're going to give a man for him to sacrifice, not to, no, not to sacrifice, let me not put it that way, to be obligated to them for a lifetime, you know? Even the best women, I mean, only a few actually spend time to articulate exactly what they're going to do for that kind of man. And even the smartest, the richest, the most accomplished women, they have trouble expressing what the hell they're going to do for the guy that they want. And I often wonder why that is. And it's not just arrogance, it's not just social media, because back in my day, right, 100,000 years ago, and I remember when I was dating before I got married, I did okay. I had a lot of girlfriends. And when I say a lot of girlfriends, I mean enough experiences to see a pattern in women, you know? And hey, what's going on, Mr. Bennett? How you doing, man? Let me see what I got something in the way. Let me see what you got. Keep that up there for a second. Ah, you've been walking the dog. Okay, if you chime in later, I'll be waiting for you. Um, So just getting back to it, and I was gonna go through a little bit of since I got some time before I show the first video. I was thinking about the girlfriends that I had, and I'm gonna keep it clean. I mean, my first girlfriend had a personality that I liked, right? And she was a little older than I was. And then I had a woman who was a baby mama, right? And she was cool, but she convinced me that, you know, cleaving to a woman with a kid wasn't going to be for me, only because she couldn't stop talking about her ex, right? This was after 5 years of being divorced. She still couldn't stop talking about the guy. So I just thought that was something that she would have to deal with on her own. I had man, I had a girl that was from actually from the streets. I actually did that. She taught me a new one. There was no way I should have been going with that girl, even though she was one of my faves. But I learned stuff from them. But one of the things they never did, and I actually lived with a woman too for like 2 years when I was in the later years in college, and 1 year after I graduated. I think we got engaged. It just didn't work out. But no, not one of those ladies used to sat me down and said, "You know what? I really appreciate being with you." And not because they didn't. They showed me in different ways. I just don't think women are wired to actually think that a man needs to hear their appreciation. At least not all the time. Or any of the time. They rather do it by actions, and I think men like it that way. Uh, Even though every so often, I'm gonna say, get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. Do something for me that I don't expect. But having food is, like I said, that's just a metaphor. Uh, I don't know. Let me see. Is my man there? I sort of think. Let me get in the back chat. Still ain't there. Okay. Hey, Bia. Yeah, how you doing, man? Hey, listen. If you're back there, you could show my first video. I'd appreciate that if you're there at home. You could do it. That video is the short that I made. If you're not there yet, that's cool. Yeah, I don't see it in the back chat. So I hope you're not texting this thing BMU while you're driving your car, man. That's funny. All right. Okay. So yeah, I got a couple of things while we wait. There's this guy on the internet called Psych Psych Hacks. He's a doctor, psychologist, I believe, and he was telling a story. And this kind of goes to what I say about women and how they appreciate or don't appreciate men, right? He was telling a story about this woman who was living with a guy. I don't think they were married, but he was paying all her rent. He was taking care of her completely. Like she didn't have to do anything. Matter of fact, she was working and she was banking like $5,000 a month. And they were together for, I guess, long enough for the guy to start saying, "Well, I need you to start doing some things for me." Now, this is his fault because he should have never waited so long to ask for her to do stuff. But she left him. She left him because, and get this, he asked her to start washing his clothes. She said she refused to wash his clothes, because she thought it was beneath her. Right. So this whole title of this guy, Psych Hacks video was girl math. And a lot of women didn't like that. But she leaves this guy and and they live in California. So she leaves this guy and now she's paying $3,000 a month rent on her own. Of course, she's washing her own clothes. And she, for her paycheck, all she clears during the year is like 15 grand a year after all her expenses are paid, and not including any kind of contingencies that may come up. She has no savings and nothing. But because she didn't want to make this guy a sandwich, she left him because she thought those kind of chores were beneath her. Now, I think that's kind of radical, and you could just probably tell, not kind of radical, that's radical, but you could tell that she was smitten by the feminist and modern era. And I don't believe the average rank and file woman math skills are that bad. So she'd rather go ahead and be broke, no savings, no nothing, than to wash the guy's clothes, which is probably maybe like twice a month, 3 times a month max. So that doesn't make any sense to me. But I can see where her head's at. It's an extreme case of somebody saying, listen, you're a man, you're supposed to just do shit for me. I don't have to do anything or say anything to you for you to do that. Now, I don't know what this woman looks like, you know, but I don't care how good she looks. She don't deserve that kind of treatment. Nobody does. You got to make your own way in this world. But again, look how long it took that guy to even start to ask her. It took him years to start to ask her to do something for him, while he was paying everything. So obviously he didn't go in with that being a requirement. And that was his big mistake. That was a big mistake because, how you set things up is pretty much how it's going to be. That's what they tell men. If you don't get stuff straight with your woman from the beginning, you know, why don't you get up here, easy buddy, man? I need some company, brother. What you mean? You don't believe this. You just trolling. You can't believe what you just wrote there. She stood on what business? Stupid business. You know, there is no way that there's no way. But anyway, do I have you want me to drop the link, man? I mean, I can get it, man. I have to just copy it. You could come on up, man. I haven't talked to you in a while anyway, man. So why don't you shoot up here, brother? If you don't have the link, you could have the link. Hold on for it. Bear with me. Oh, there it is. You got the link there.
Hey,
Hey, man, what's going on, man?
what's going on?
How you doing, man? Where you been hiding?
No, so my kids do scouts, and the last few weeks we've had field trips. So we did the police station, the fire department, all that type of stuff. So usually during those weeks, I was, walking around, making sure they weren't acting up or stealing anything. You know how kids are.
Oh man, stealing anything?
Bitch.
Oh man. So
My
I mean,
kids.
I hear you. I hear you. Hey, listen, man. So the title of the show is. Let me ask you a question since you're here. You're a
Mhm.
married man. How often does your wife look you in the eye and say, you know what? I know she don't call you easy money. That shit would be funny if she did. Yeah, say, "Hey, easy money. I really appreciate you." How often does she do that? And how often do you need it?
So she's done it more after we talked, and she understands that is something that I require. So it's more often than she would before we had a conversation on it.
Is that right?
Um, yeah, because in her mind, she's like, I don't think to say thank you for everything. You know what I'm saying? Like like in her mind, it was assumed that she appreciated things, and I had to tell her, I'm like, yeah, nah, we can't just be assuming that, right? So like from time to time, I do need to hear a thanks or hey, can you do this? Like for me, it's more of a manners thing than anything else, and necessarily me wanting or needing to be appreciated per se.
But okay. So now I understand the thank you part of it, but I think I was kind of at a higher level of the appreciation for the things we do. But that's true too. I can see you getting that straight. Like if I do something, you do something for me, and thank you is just like appropriate from a managed standpoint. But I'm just saying that I just think it's inherent in women to expect shit from men, right?
I
And
don't
I
know if
don't
I'd
think.
go that far
No,
because
no,
like
wait a
I've
minute. Now,
seen.
what do you mean? What do you mean by that? For you don't think that's true?
No, I think that's more of a mindset of a particular person where things that you do more than and so actually it's funny that this kind of dovetails because one of my personal philosophies is anything you do more than twice is no longer a favor. So, like to that point of women aren't thankful. I think one, it needs to be assessed. What is the relationship with the particular woman that we're talking about? Because to say that women in general aren't thankful, there's not a real good way to
Okay, so
quantify that.
let me put us on a level playing field because I know where you're going from. There's some assumptions we have to make. Let's just say you're in a good marriage.
Hmm.
Let's assume that it's a good marriage. By all other measures, it's good. And it's kind of even balance. Your woman naturally does stuff for you because my wife caters to me, right? Whether I ask for it or not, she just does. I mean, it's like a natural goddamn thing. And I say thank you to her all the time, but I'm above the thank you, right? She does the things she does for me because I keep the worries of the world off of her shoulders, even though it's not like a transactional thing. It's just the way it is, right? She respects me. So the way she shows her appreciation and respect is to cater to me, right? So, and I appreciate that because I know why she's doing it, right? Because she's making a choice to do that. Because I'm not really asking for some of the stuff that she does. She just does it. And I
Yeah.
appreciate that. But every so often, it'd be nice for her to move her lips and look at me and say, I appreciate the fact that I can when I go to sleep without wrinkles in my forehead. Or I'm glad I didn't have to work to get the things that I do. She works only so she don't have to ask me for money, but she couldn't live off of that. You know what I'm saying? So and plus it's the church, man. It's a labor of love. This is her childhood church. So she likes being there. She's gonna probably be there forever. She's never gonna really retire.
Okay.
Um, but you know what? I'm at a higher level. For the basic things we do to each other, we always say thank you, you're welcome, that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about the intrinsic thing. When we're on these panels, I, even some of the nicest women, even some of the most women you could get along with, they don't spend a lot of time talking about what they would do for the men they want. Even them, a lot of them, if it wasn't for Take Heed to the Message and a few others, who verbally talks about extolling her man, there's not too many women who do that.
Well,
You know,
can I ask a question on that? Because I heard
yeah,
you say that earlier, and I guess what are you expecting to hear? Like, I guess
Black
that.
Panther said we calling out all the holes this year. Yes, we are. We calling out all the holes in 2024, damn it. We tired of y'all. We tired of y'all. We calling out all the holes in 2024 this year.
okay, let me tell you.
No, so this kind of goes back a little bit to what you were saying earlier with, I keep the worries of the world off her shoulders and she doesn't have to work because of me. So she does extra, she takes care of me and caters to me.
Right.
And I guess to your point, that's something that you established because that was something that you required from your woman, right? There was a conversation and boom, that happened, right?
No, no.
So she just understands that you take the worries of the world off her shoulder.
Yeah,
How does she
yeah.
understand that?
Because no, it wasn't a negotiation. Did we ever have a conversation where I said, listen, the reason why you go to sleep so easy at night is because of me? I might have said that once in some kind of conversation a long time ago, but it definitely wasn't before we got married. Uh, and I don't know what the circumstances were for me to say that. Maybe it was just a reminder that, you got to appreciate what's going on. And so it wasn't like an argument. I did say that. I did say that, but I might have said it like once or twice in our whole marriage, right? But even before that, she still was catering to me. But what she didn't do was what she doesn't do, and I don't. And here's the two parts to this. There was only a couple times I can remember where she would just out of clear blue tell me how much she respects and honors what I do for her. But it seems to be okay, fine for me because, I don't need to be coddled like that.
Right.
Right? You know what I'm saying? I don't. And I don't think men I don't think men need it at that level either, just in general. I think we understand that if we're going to have a wife and a family and an obligation, we're going to be obligation to do what it takes to make sure our families are successful. Right? Period. I mean, no
Right.
woman has to convince me to do that. The point I'm really making is every so often, it's nice to hear it verbally that you're doing that. So the
100%
question is,
agree.
yeah. So the question is, how often do you need to hear that?
I mean,
And
it's not really on a timetable though. That's the thing. Like it's really just something like I said, it happens randomly. So like when I get it, I'm like, oh, cool, thank you, appreciate it.
exactly, you feel it because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that often.
But then on the flip side of that, Mr. Payne, like if that's the case, like, do we really need to be thanked for everything that we do? Well, thank you for
No,
paying the gas bill
no,
this month, right?
no.
Like
That's why
so
I'm not
that so
talking
that's kind
about
of
it.
where but that's kind of where I get confused though, our Payne. And I'm not saying that you said this because you clarified, your statement and that's cool. But I think what happens is there's a tone, at least in the tone of when these men are talking and women aren't appreciative and they don't say thank you and they don't
I'm trying to
appreciate the
elevate the conversation.
sacrifices.
I'm trying to elevate that conversation past that.
Right. And so to that point, like, when I hear those type of comments, I'm like, do you want to be thanked for paying the gas bill on the house that you also live in? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we say that the standard for men is this provide, protect, and all of this stuff, all the P's and all that, right? If
Right.
that's what you're supposed to do, why in the world would you expect to be praised for that?
Okay.
Well,
Whoa. Let me.
yeah, I was gonna say, hold on now. Go ahead,
Hold on a
BMU.
second.
Go
Let me
ahead.
come back there. God created you to have children. Why should I praise you for all the pain you went through having a childbirth? God said you're gonna have childbirth. Why do I gotta show support? Why do I gotta appreciate you for having my child and raising my children? That's your job. So why should I get
Well,
you something? So why should there be a Mother's Day? I don't want to get you nothing on Mother's Day. You did your fucking job. You had the baby.
that's a fair question. That's a
You
fair question. Let's do away with Mother's Day. That's cool.
That's what I'm saying. So
Let's do away with it.
But I guarantee you, if you went to your wife, and I went to my wife and said, "There's gonna be no more Mother's Day because you doing your fucking job," it will be a mass exodus of marriage. Women will be fucking their husbands.
Not in my house, but everybody moved differently. Like if I said, "Hey, you ain't getting nothing for Mother's Day this year," she'd be like, "Okay."
That's that bullshit easy money when we talk about men can't get no appreciation for you supposed to pay the bills. Well, motherfucker, you supposed to have children. You're supposed to go through child pains and birth. What the hell? So we're not gonna show you. You know what? You know what we're gonna do? We're not gonna show either one of us gonna show no appreciation for each other.
No, but that's two different things, though.
That's not two different things. I'm supposed to pay the bills. You supposed to raise these children. What the fuck are you talking about? I can't get no appreciation for paying the light bill. Yeah, you can't get no appreciation for raising the kids. Raise these kids. That's what you're supposed to do. You're a mother.
All right, listen, gentlemen, listen, all I'm trying to say is, but BMU, let me ask you this, okay? Let me ask you.
Real quick, Arpain, one more thing for you. I know women, Arpain, I made a short about this. I know women, my grandmother said that she would go to the cotton field and work the turn rows. I know you're familiar with that term.
Yeah, I heard, yeah.
She would work the turn rows. She said those turn rows can be up to a mile long. Out there working all those acreage of land, you would go down those turn rows and pull the cotton, come all the way back up, empty the bag, go back out, pull more. Right? You would do that. She said they would do that for 10 hours a day.
My hands be bleeding, right?
Hands are bleeding, cut up from getting them pulling that damn cotton. My grandmother said she would work 10 hours a day in the Louisiana heat. You already know what that's like, 105 degrees, 110 degrees during the summer. She said she would get off from that, go to the house. Right? Wash up, churn some butter, milk some cows, check the chicken coop for the eggs, go in the house, cook a full course meal for her children and her husband, and do that shit all over again the next day. I said, Grandma, you weren't tired? She said, baby, when you're doing it for the right reasons, it don't feel like a job to you.
I hear that.
Those women back in the day, I'm telling you, let me tell you something. My grandmother said this, and I love it to death. Shout out to my grandmother. My grandmama said 14-year-old girls in her time could do more in an hour than a 40-year-old woman could do today.
I agree. I agree. I agree with you. But
That's it.
okay, let's put it just. But before we get down to that level, because there'll be some cases to be made about the men back then that are different than the men today, right? I mean, we can make those cases. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's not the point I'm trying to make, because we knew women were made of greater stock back then, but so was everybody, just about. I mean, men's testosterone levels were higher and everything. So there was a lot of shit going on back then. And so some of it, even though I agree with what you just said, but that's not really where I want to go, because I want to keep it kind of modern. Because even when I was younger, uh, you know, I'm still not sure how often our fathers heard through word that they were appreciated. Through deed, absolutely. Through deeds, absolutely. So those don't. So what I'm saying is, how much do we need as men to hear our women give us verbal affirmation that they appreciate what we do?
You said how often?
How often do we need that?
We men just it's that's what I'm saying. I think we when you put parameters on it and you put numbers on it and how often it should be, it's not genuine to me.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, but forget. Let's just say genuinely. Let's use the word genuinely. How often do we need our women to say it? Because when they do say it, we want it to be genuine. So how often do they need to? If your woman told you, not you, just take it from you, but if your wife told you every week how much she appreciated you, do you need it that much? Or if she said it once a month, but you knew she was genuine, or once even every 6 months? Yeah, I'm just trying to say, because if she never said it to you, it's not going to stop you from meeting your obligations, because you'll be looking at her deeds, right? Because sometimes the deeds speak as loud as words, but every so often you want to hear the words. And I'm saying, how often as men, do we need to hear the words?
I think we should hear I think we should hear whenever she wants to say it. It
There
just
you
needs
go.
to be
There you go.
yeah,
I'll take
whenever
that.
she
I'll
wants to
take
say
that.
it. I don't want her to do it every day because it's not genuine to me. I'm not even going
Okay.
to appreciate it if you come in every day, baby. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, every day. But
Okay.
you know what? If we sitting somewhere one day, we sit on the couch and she just grabbed my hand and look at me like, baby, you know what? I just want you to know I really
That's what I'm
appreciate
talking
you.
about.
I love you. Like
Yeah,
every
anytime when she feels
yeah.
the urge or the spirit to say it, I'll accept it if it's genuine. Let me just put it that way. But I don't necessarily expect it in any kind of time frame. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. So I like that answer. That's a good answer. That's one of my questions. But here's the other part of this though, BMU. I want to make sure I get this question right, because I want to ask this while you're here, right? Uh, yeah, okay, so are women wired to take men for granted? Especially in the modern, so let's just start with the modern era, because if we go way back when, I know that wasn't true, but are women nowadays kind of wired, or maybe even back then, are they wired to take men for granted? Like there's an expectation that a man, even in the caveman days, the expectation was that men's gonna, the lion or the saber tooth was gonna try to get in the cave. All the men were in the outer ring, right? And the women and the children were in the inner ring. So that was just the way things are. Hey, listen, you're wired. They're wired to think that we're going to lay our lives on the line to protect the flock. Okay. So are they just kind of wired?
Payne, Payne, can we address something?
Sure, sure.
I want to address this and Dark. Dark said something as well. Anissa says those women did what they had to do. Times were what they were. We are not going back to that. You're absolutely. We're not going back to nuclear families where women nurtured their children, were there with their husbands, were the anchors of their families. We're not going back to that. Now, since we're not going back to that and we don't want those type of women anymore, we're going to settle with the 75% of single mothers in the homes raising sons to be little girls, and the little girls raised to be little stud muffins, and then they're going to go out into the community and be nothing. right? So you could call it slavery, you could call it what you want to. Times were different, but look at what we have now. And
Exactly.
you yourself, Anissa, you are considered now an elder to the young women. And you have said in prior conversation that you have not reached out to these young women. You do not mentor these young women. These young women are sucking peanuts after their first period class. These young ladies are out here having sex. We know that between 12 and 14 years old, these girls have 10 bodies per girl, according to Dr. Nkumbe's numbers, and he's a forensic psychiatrist. So, and he sees these numbers. So, yes, we're gonna go. We don't need to go back to where it was a nuclear family. These women were staples in their families. No, 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 no. We're gonna go back to stapling child support papers and stapling papers, putting kids into the system, and stapling papers showing that 75% of women are single mothers. Oh, yes, I think that's what we need to go back to, Anissa. Oh, yes. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Let me put it to you this way. The way you're talking to Anissa now, and don't no shade to you, Anissa, is this: do you want to mentor the young girls?
Hell
The
no.
way her mindset is. So that's another thing. Who is mentoring? You had another one. What's the other one? Black man.
Oh yeah. Right here, she said, Anissa, they were wearing those muumuus too, but they don't mention those aspects or the baths every other day at best. Listen, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if the woman took a bath once a week. They were better than y'all.
Oh man, listen.
Back in the day, those women protected their children from hurt, harm, and danger. They spoke life into them. They poured into them. They showed them how to work hard. They showed them how to treat a man. They showed them how to serve a man. They showed them how life is supposed to be. Today, since women don't do that no more, now we got 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 70-year-old women, 70-year-old women whose vaginas look like balled up notebook paper, trying to find a goddamn boyfriend.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me do this.
Hey, Payne,
Yes.
can I ask a question real quick? So,
Yes.
actually, Anissa's comment has spurred up a question that's in my mind now.
Yes.
So to that point, this focus on hard work and catering to a man that women used to have, knowing that we're talking about a time of the 1940s, 1950s, 1930s, and we're talking about people that were maybe a generation, if not two or three, removed from the plantation.
What's the question?
That's where I'm going. How much of that behavior do you think is tied to slavery? And the evolution that we're experiencing now is probably more for the norm than people who come from slavery.
No, okay. So here's my thing. Here's my let me just say this. I just think that there's some inherent things that are timeless between men and women. And the fact that we have different tools only change the way we are manipulated in the environment. So I think there's some basic inherency to how women were back then and how women are now and how men were back then and how men are now. I didn't really want to go down that path to where we're trying to compare. See, first of all, the women of today are coddled, right? They're coddled. And maybe because technology has coddled them and the men in the West has coddled them. Okay. So from that standpoint, that goes to my question. Do they have an expectation from men that they take for granted? And the answer is the way they're responding now is yes. Because even back then, men were obligated to their family. And this men right here on this panel who is obligated to their families today as men back then were. They just didn't have the tools we have now, right? So they could keep trying to say how they evolved, but we stayed the same. Because if I was a man back then, I'd still be looking after my family just like I'm doing today.
Payne.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I'm 40 years old, Payne. I'm 40. I'm married. I have 6 beautiful children. And guess what, Payne?
What's up?
All the morals and values that I have here in my household, and the reason that I'm respected, Payne, is because I took some of those things that I saw my grandfather and my grandmother do when I was a child. And then those things poured into my father, and then I took those things from my father and my mother. This is the thing that people don't understand. In my family, there ain't no divorces. My grandmother and grandfather, 63 years. My mom and dad, 41 years this past Christmas Day. My aunt and my uncles, 30 years, 26 years, 28 years, ain't had a divorce in this family.
Right.
You know why? They all follow the traditional values. When a plate is being fixed, the men are sitting, the women are serving. When the bills need to be paid, these men are doing. When something needs to be fixed around the house, the men are tearing down walls, putting in new pipes. Everybody know their place. The women love their husbands. They dress up. They got 50th anniversaries, 60-year anniversaries, 20-year anniversaries, the gold, the silver anniversaries, and they celebrate those things even to this day. It's a beautiful thing to see women and men know their goddamn place instead of sitting at home single, 50, 60 years old with no man, pussy dried in the sandpaper at a fucking fair. God damn, this is crazy. We're getting mad at the women.
BMU, I'm just trying to say, oh, hey, this. All I'm just trying to say is that we're not the ones who've changed. Hey, but before y'all go any further, you want to play my short? Can you play that for a second?
I can play. I got. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. I already got.
Good afternoon, good evening, Anissa. Hey, it's good.
Hey, Anissa.
Hello. Good evening.
Oh man, it's going to be fun now.
It'll be ready by the time she get through running her mouth.
Go ahead. What you got? What you got on this thing, Anissa?
Well, I totally missed.
Before you get started, do you really not understand what I was trying to do when I first? Or you didn't come in the beginning?
Yeah, see, I missed it. That's why I said maybe I need to see the video because I missed that. I was just responding to BMU's rant about how the women worked in the field and then they came home and cooked and then they worked some more. We know what happened during those days. We know what happened during slavery. Those days are over. We are not going back to those days. Let it go, honey. Let it go. That's why women started going to school and get educated. So we don't have to do that. And we don't have to live that life. That was the time of that period. And that's what men and women had to do. It was a hard life for men and women, but it was what it was. They didn't have any other choices. I'm not finished, please. You went on and on and on, and everybody listened to you. The only thing I'm saying is that particular thing is over. We're not doing that anymore. So let's come up into 2024, and look at the dynamics of, what women are doing and what men are doing today. We're not going back to the 40s and the 30s. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Okay, but I missed the video, so I probably need to see that. But definitely, when it comes down to respecting and loving and catering and loving your man, absolutely, it should be the same. But the dynamics of those days and today are vastly, vastly different. And to your second point, I told you before on that previous thing, I influence the people that I encounter, my family members that I encounter, the young ladies that I work with. But no, I'm not going out here marching up and down the street, pulling young girls to the side so I can mentor them. These are y'all's kids. You need to be pouring into your own children and teaching your young men and your young boys how to be to raise them to be productive citizens. I encounter the people that I encounter, and I influence the people that I'm surrounded with. But I can't save all of your kids. I didn't have these kids. It's your number one responsibility if you're a parent.
Yeah, okay. So let me kind of bring you up to speed where the question really, one of the questions really is, and this has nothing to do with way back when. Okay. One of the questions to the men was, how often do we need to hear women give us a verbal acknowledgement of the things we do for them? And that presupposes we're in a good relationship, a marriage, right? And then the second part to that is how often, and is it really necessary for us to hear it in any frequency? That was the question.
Real quick, R-Payne. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here tonight to support R-Payne. We got a new member to the Black Men Unfiltered Network. Mrs. Locks to Smile is in the building. Thank you so much, Locks to Smile, for becoming a member. I appreciate you and all your support, and we love you to death, baby. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you being here.
And another thing, Mrs. Locks to Smile, just because you became a member, I'm going to take care of Nissa real quick for you, okay? So I'm going to get Nissa. It's not about what work they did. It's about the work ethic of what they did. And you say fast forward to 2024. I just want to take a split second with you, Anissa. And I want you to compare the women then to the women today. I'm not going to use marketplace. I want you to look at the sexual thing of them versus the sexual thing of back then. That's all I want you to do. All right, those women back then, like you said, at 14, they could cook, clean, milk cows, churn butter. They could do shit that women could do today. You just said, fast forward to 2024, they're all hoes. They all cheating on their husbands. They mean, they mad. They got sexual liberation. They got Dr. Nkumbi already told us 12 to 14 years old. They got 10 bodies on them already.
And whose fault is that? That's the parents' fault.
Okay, no, but I'm saying it wasn't like that back then.
That's the parents' fault. At the end of the day, that is the mother and the father that are raising those kids. That is their responsibility, that they did not pour into their children the right values and ethics and more. Those are the parents' fault. And they're absolutely wrong. It's a horrible, it is nothing like, because back then when y'all slept with women and you impregnated them, you married them. That's just what you had to do. You know, I have family that were slaves. I have family, it's in Monticello, Florida, and they went through all of that stuff that you're talking about. They did all of that in the hot Florida sun. But one thing that was different back then, when you knocked these women up, you married them and you had a family with them and you did the right thing by them. Now y'all just walk away. So at the end of the day, if these young ladies are out here in the street, and as these young men are, and they're not learning the proper tools, it all goes back to the mother and the father.
Let me ask you a question on this. How many gay boys was picking cotton in the 50s?
Who what?
Give me that sack. Yes.
I didn't hear the question.
How many gay boys was picking cotton and cutting wood back in the day?
Well, here's the thing. There were homosexuals in the Bible days, so I'm sure they had to exist in that day. So I wasn't born in that time, so I can't give you any stats. But if they existed in Jesus' day, I'm pretty sure they existed in the 40s and the 50s.
Let me help you.
They just hid it and they covered it, but I'm sure they were there, BMU.
Yeah. Let me help you.
You just took over my show.
Let me help you. Them gay boys that was out there picking cotton. Let me help you, Anissa. You better not come out here and show it, or you're gonna get hit across the head with one of these hammers.
Oh, for sure. It wasn't accepted.
Absolutely.
It wasn't accepted at all.
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. That's the differences that I'm talking about. Then you come out here with that gay shit, we're gonna bust your head open with this hammer. Today, y'all grown ass 50-year-old women going out with 23-year-old dudes with a skirt on, talking about yes, supporting it. Back then, it was not supported.
So where are the fathers of these young men?
But BMU, why are we going all the way over there?
Where are the fathers of these young men to mentor and to be an example to these young men? Where are they? It's the women's fault that these kids are gay?
What I'm saying to you is the majority of women are sleeping with the minority of trash ass niggas. The trash ass niggas decide not to be with the majority of women, and those women raise those little boys, dress them like they want them to dress them, put a little sugar on them. All these little boys become aisle 5 at Walmart. We all know what's on aisle 5 at Walmart, the sugar. They all become sweet. And because their mama want them to be their little girlfriend and their little son husband, and that's what we're dealing with today. The family. Come on, Payne, go ahead, because I could.
Well, I'm asking, is my short ready?
Oh shit! Hold on, my bad. I was trying to get a this. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I know, man.
Give me 60 seconds.
I gotta acquiesce to you. It's your network, man. When we talk about gays and slavery time, man. God damn it.
No, I'm just saying. Back in the day, they raised men. Those 12-year-old boys can cut a fucking tree down by themselves. Now, little boys don't even know how to put their own drawers on.
That's true.
This is the difference.
I don't know how to rebut that in a very clear, salient way, but yeah, that's wild. That's wild. That's wild. That's all I got.
So basically, I put I put this short out, right? And I said, okay, we could have a title of the show based on what I say in this little short 1 minute. And essentially, and we don't have to rehash it, but I put shorts out with like a little bit of music in the background, and I found Beyonce's and Destiny Child "Cater to You." Right, so I said a few words to that "Cater to You" because that was one of their classic songs, and they're still taking flack over that.
And I
Even
love
though,
that song.
and,
I love
yeah,
that song. I do.
That's cap.
right.
That's cap.
Hey, oh, you got it?
No, I told her, yeah, it's loading right now. That's cap, Anissa. You don't love no Cater to You song where a woman doing all that for a man.
For a man that is deserving, he absolutely deserves to be treated that way. You've never heard me say anything different.
Yeah, you.
That's why everything you said.
Going way back into slavery and all of that, and I was just talking about that.
The song, you know what, Anissa, back in the day, the song said, "Let me cater to you through the good, the bad." Today, it's "Let me fuck over you." That's it. That's what we're doing today.
You know what?
That's it.
If those are the kinds of women that you all consistently encounter on a regular basis, I think that says more about the man than it does the woman. If that's all you can attract, you can't find you a good woman that'll cater to you. That's your fault.
Anissa,
that's your fault. There's something about you as a man that you can't attract the kind of woman that's gonna cater to you. That's your fault. The women out here definitely exist. So that's a bunch of bull. You can stop having this round conversation about the same thing.
I know for a fact, Anissa, you know some of your friends got friendly pussy. Now you need to stop the cap.
Most of my friends are married, and they've been married longer than you. Okay, and they are in successful marriages. I'm sure that those women exist, but that's not my problem. I'm not concerned about those women because I'm not trying to have a relationship with them, and I can't save them. And if you don't want that kind of woman, then don't mess with them.
Yes, sir.
If that's not the kind of woman you want, don't mess with them.
On Barbershop Friday, Payne, I'm going to have a video of a young man. He's in his 20s. He's about 24, 25. He has a hidden camera around the stores. He goes into nice little stores where older women go who are married, been married for 30 plus, 20 plus years. And he goes into these stores and he shows interest in these older women who are wearing real big diamond rings. And these women get out of nice cars and everything. He walk up to him, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, you are beautiful." She said, "Babe, I'm old enough to be your mama." He said, "I understand it." He said, "But man, I can keep you young." And she said, "Keep me young." Boy, stop playing. He said, "Go on my phone. Just put your number in my phone and just call me later." He said, "You've been married long enough for your husband not to miss you on Friday, Saturday when I want to spend some time with you." Do you know how many of these married old ass fucking wrinkle up women will put their numbers in this 23-year-old boy phone trying to fuck him later?
Do you ever notice that BMU is the only one that come up with these crazy videos of nothing but women that exhibit this behavior? I don't know where he lives. I don't know the kind of people he hangs around, but he always seems to find these people and these videos. I'm so sorry, BMU, that's your influence, but that's not my world and that's not my influence. I don't know people that act like that.
And Anissa, I'm so sorry.
Okay, so
if you don't have any good examples of good married people, you're married. Do you and your wife?
Yeah.
The majority of married people do.
I'm not talking about. Hold on. I'm not talking about because me and my wife had the same conversation. She's very disappointed how women look today. She's very disappointed.
All right. So
today. Horrible. She said it's fucking horrible.
All right. So
I would agree, BMU. I agree with that.
Well, welcome to the show, man. How much you heard, man? Let me ask you a question. Just trying to get us back on point. Because BMU
you got to ask me a question, brother.
My video, huh?
You got to ask me a question, man. I just heard big brother BMU over here. He got a spatula and he's flipping it. He's flipping.
Okay, so back to the deal, right? How often do you need to hear your wife tell you she appreciates the things that you do for her?
I'm just in a different space with that because my wife says that shit. It seems like every time we in the car together, she says it to me.
Okay.
That she appreciates me. She glad she found me when she found me. You know what I'm saying? Because she's starting to see these, you know what I'm saying, these, 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 these examples that are out here. She like, I'm glad I'm not out.
Yeah, you bring it back, BMU. Let's go. We could continue where you at. Let's play this video. This gave me the motivation for this whole show. If you could play it, BMU, let's do it. Wow. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Damn, microphone is.
Or Payne here, marriage, politics, and sports. Hey, fellas out there, when was the last time your woman made you a sandwich? When was the last time she gave you a plate of food, rubbed your feet, told you how much she appreciated you? When was the last time she, just did something for you without expecting something in return? Can you remember? When was the last time she said, man, you know what, you're a good man. I need a person. I'm so happy I found a person like you. When's the last time your woman ever said anything like that? I appreciate all the things you do for me. I appreciate that. Out of all the men in the world, you're the one I found. When's the last time she said something like that to you? Has she ever said anything like that to you? Do you need to be catered to? Don't you think you deserve it? As a man, as a guy, on your grind for your family, your wife, your obligation. Don't you think you deserve it?
That was it. That was it. That was it. Yeah. So y'all heard that, right? That gave me that's why I said,
hey, you looking like a little silver fox up there, boy.
Oh,
What you got going
on? It's time, Payne. It's time, brother.
It's time to do what?
It's time to get no, not shame necessarily. Let somebody go ahead and trim it up for you. Get it nice for you, man.
Yeah.
Put some lines on it. It's ready.
Yeah, it's ready, right?
Yes.
Anyway, so listen, that was the motivation for this show. When was the last time you got something like that from your wife? That's one. And how often do we need it as men? And listen, you could chime in too, because this is what, before we got in these down arguments, I was trying to keep it elevated a little bit because I don't want to get on women's case. Okay, we're in the modern era. And one of the things, though, and this is for you, we're getting on these panels with a lot of women, and very few women talk about what they're going to give a man for that person that they actually want. They'll sit down here and give you a laundry list of what this Herculean man might need and look like. But very seldom do they say, well, this is what I'm going to give for that kind of man. We hardly ever hear that, right? There's that proverbial, what do you bring to the table? But forget that. What would you actually do for the dream man? And a lot of women don't say nothing. They leave that part out. And before anybody says something, I just think women are wired that way. I just think when men are wired to not necessarily need to be coddled, and I think women are wired to just expect men to do shit for them. I think that's timeless. I mean, we might add stuff to it, but I just think that we're wired a certain way to deal with each other like that. Like for example, you said, Treyford, that your wife, she takes the opportunity to let you know as often as she feels that she wants to. You're not asking for it, right? So that's the difference.
No. Yeah, but I don't really have to ask for it. Sometimes she said it too much. I like.
See. Okay, but she might say a little bit more than you need.
Yeah, she gives me a lot of confirmation, a lot. In the food that she cooks, my wife cooks damn near every day, every other day. And she rubs my aches. Hell, I got aches all over my body. She rubs my back while she do. I mean, listen, man, like I said, I'm not in a lot of these situations because I get everything I need to make me want to be the best version of me every day.
Right. I can dig it. So that's where I was kind of coming from. So who just came up? Scorch Earth. Huh? So Nissa, do you hear where I'm coming from?
Well, yeah. So now that you went back to the video, because I missed that, I was just chomping in on BMU with the crazy stuff he was saying. But according to your video, I think you're absolutely right. Now, it's how often they need it. Of course, that's going to be dependent on the man. Some men may want to hear it, every day. Some men once a month might be, or whatever the case. That's a part of learning your man, and giving those words of affirmation to him. It's definitely necessary. And I think that if you have a good husband and he's been a good husband to you and he's leading the family and you and protecting and providing and he's showing up and doing his responsibility, he absolutely deserves to be catered to and he absolutely deserves to be affirmed. I think the problem is, as we have said many times on these panels, a lot of these women are not taught that. I saw it growing up because I saw it with my mother. My mother catered to my father, and my mother worked outside of the home, but she was also an excellent homemaker. But I saw that growing up. A lot of women are not shown that, or their mothers don't actively teach them that. So if you don't see that growing up, then you have to really exert the effort to try to learn those behaviors on your own. And that's probably where things are being dropped. But I think a man absolutely deserves to be affirmed in his marriage and catered to by his woman.
So let me ask you the second part of that, though. Let me ask you the second part. So the second part of that, do you think women, though, are kind of predisposed, whether they're taught or not, to kind of expect men to do things for them?
Absolutely. I think most of us are have been told, this is what the responsibilities of a man are, and this is what a man should be doing for you and in the relationship, in the marriage. I think that would be a valid point. Yes.
Yeah, but okay, so I agree with what you just said there, but do you necessarily have to be told, or is there something inherent about being a woman that makes you have that expectation? For example, let me explain. See, I think it's readily understood that women are born with an inherent value, right? Men have to earn their value. Women have to protect their virtue. That's how I look at it. And so, but but human nature gives an inherent value to women because we know that through you, even though you have to use our seed, you guys are the mothers of the new generation, right? So I just think that there's an expectation with that inherent value that I think women have, and I think it's been used and abused by social media and the feminist movement to be somehow corrupted, to where that expectation has turned into almost pure transactional stuff, and that you need to be paid in advance before you could even acknowledge a man's value. And I have a video that kind of says something to that. The next video, the second video, but I'm not trying to convince you that that's true. That's a real question. If you don't see it that way, then that's your opinion, and I'm not going to argue with it. It's just a theory of mine that
Mm-hmm.
it can't just be because you're told, because it just seems that women have an expectation of men. If let's just go back to the caveman days, they had an expectation that the leaders of the goddamn tribes were going to protect them. They didn't have to ask for that. They didn't have to be told that either. Maybe it's a learned kind of thing too. You're saying just because everybody else did it, whether you spoke it or not. So I don't know. But the way things are today, men are not getting the affirmation, but there's an awful lot of women sitting up here talking about what a good man is, but they never say what the hell they're going to give that to. You know?
You want to know what, Mr. Payne? You know what's going to happen? You know what
Yeah.
needs to happen? I'm going to say this. What needs to happen is I agree. I'm going to get on the Nissa side for a second here.
Okay.
We're not going back to the 30s and the 40s where women kept their families together and nurtured their families and their husbands, right? The nuclear family is trash. It's no longer, it's trash. It's sexual liberation, okay? But there's sacrifice in everything that you take away. There's always a consequence for taking that thing away.
Okay.
So I think men should step up and say, you know what? Back in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, we would jump in front of a bullet for you, jump on an axe, fall on an axe for you, let a tree fall on us for you. We would be there for you. We were strong. We made sure that we fixed things. We made sure we were fixers. We were just strong men who worked hard all day to provide for our families. I think men should just start saying, fuck it. We're not going back to the 30s, 40s, and 50s either. We ain't gonna be protecting your ass. You want to listen. You don't want to be like grandmama. We don't want to be like granddaddy. So we're gonna be two selfish motherfuckers in a relationship. You go do your thing. I'm gonna go do mine. That's what needs to happen. That's basically what they're saying. We don't want to go back to what grandmom them did. Well, granddad them did a lot too. We're not.
I hear it's a thought. Scorched Earth, how you doing? And Mr. Bennett, how you doing too? It's Scorched Earth, you there? I don't know if you can hear us. Hey, Mr. Bennett, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's good? What's good, man?
All
Y'all
right.
went all over the place, man. What y'all were talking about saying thank you, and then y'all went already back to the slave.
DFU took over the show, man. You know what I gotta say? What can I say?
Words of appreciation, man.
This triggered me. That's what happened.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh man! So I don't know how much you heard, but
I'm sorry. What was that?
Go ahead,
no, speaking of Mr. Bennett, I said, "What's up, Mr. Bennett?"
Hey, man, it's all good here. It's all good. You know, so yeah, I heard most of the conversations tonight. One thing that kept coming up in my mind when I was thinking about this is women in terms of their ability to express deep gratitude and remorse. One thing I thought about was all of the funerals I've gone to. I've lost some good friends of mine in their 50s, and some unfortunately even younger than that. And one thing you never hear at a funeral is the wife talking about her husband. But I've never been to a funeral. If the wife dies, it's almost mandatory for the husband to get up and say something about the wife. Now, I'm just always just wondering what that is. I know you have the grieving widow. I know she's in black. She's in mourning. But again, when a wife dies, the husband's in mourning also. So I always thought about that. Why is it that it's not expected, or if it's done, it's rare. All right, peace, easy money. It's rare when I've seen that happen. I'm just curious as to So the point that you were saying earlier about women not always being able to express their emotions. I know my wife; she gets very emotional when it comes to certain things where she just can't talk about certain things. I already know. It's like when I die, she's not going to be speaking at my funeral most likely because it's just hard for her. When you talk about just those deep emotions, she's going to be in mourning and wailing and all that, but she tried to get up and to speak and to talk about how important I was to her and things of that nature. You feel it, it's there, but for her to verbally express it is her to express those kind of emotions is not easy for her to do. So to your earlier point about how often do they do it, again, mine, she may tell me maybe once a year, maybe a couple times a year, how much she appreciates what I do. For me, yeah. Now, it wasn't always. Now, again, part of this is also about maturity as well. When I was younger, because I wasn't necessarily, I'm definitely not the person I am today. Again, I was emotionally, I was a bit, for lack of a better word, I was just more emotional. I won't say weaker, but I was just more emotional back then. And so I think in my 20s, especially, I think I was a bit more needing that because I didn't get a lot of that growing up. My dad was like, he'd cuss you out, he'd do whatever, he called you ain't this, you ain't that, or whatever. That kind of tough love thing. And I didn't really get a lot from my mom either. So that I think a part of me was sort of longing for that, especially given what myself and a lot of my family members, what we had to overcome. So it's like, here it is, I was able to get into a career, get married, have buy a home, do all these sort of things. And it's like, we overcame a lot, but I wasn't getting that sort of pat on the back, which I felt I needed it. But certainly as I got older and as I started to mature and as I started becoming more self-confident and just more appreciative of the man that I was transforming into, I needed it less. So as far as when do you need it, I can't answer that question, but it's almost just like you're playing chess, versus checkers. It's not, you don't do it in the moment. You don't do it. In fact, I almost resent it. So almost like when you say thank you or I love you because I did something for you, it's almost offensive to me because anybody does. The Bible even talks about that. Even, the worst people will say thank you if somebody does something for you. But what about those who can't do anything for you? Or if I can't do anything for you, can you still find something to appreciate? So praise in the midst of an action is not really for me where it's at. But when it's well timed, that'll last me a year. You know what I'm saying? When it's done. So I don't need as much. In fact, even to say I love you, I really don't need a lot of that. because again, we talk about love languages. My primary love language is acts of service anyway. So to your point earlier, the way women, when they serve you and do stuff like that's enough. Or simply doing what I asked you to do when I asked you to do it, that's enough also, because that shows that you've been paying attention, you've been listening, and a lot of times you're changing your habits to meet where I'm at. So that for me is work enough. But even I love you, like when my wife says it to me almost every day, leaving, going to work or whatever, it just doesn't hit. But a well-timed act of service, that does it for me more so than anything. So I think my evolution as a man, I think has certainly changed what I've acquired. And again, even with all those love languages that they talk about, acts of service and touch and stuff like that, I think everybody needs it. It's just everybody's like at a different level, and it changes, it modulates over time. You may find acts of service, especially at my age now. I think acts of service is more important now than words of affirmation. But again, a well-timed one, it lands and is genuine.
I'm with you. I resonate with that. That's pretty much the same answer I would have. Go ahead. You gonna say something, Elise?
No, I was just going to say that just falls in line with what I was saying, that all of that depends on the man and what that man requires. So, and that's pretty much what Bennett says.
Yeah, according to you, a man can't require nothing.
I never said it. You stop it. Stop it. Stop trying to put words in my mouth. I never said that. Never said that.
Let's scorch earth, Phil. You there? Are you back?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just sitting up there listening. I didn't catch the video, so that's why I haven't jumped in and said anything. I'm still trying to grasp what you guys talking about. Look, good evening to everyone.
Clement, your damn microphone is on Mount Sinai.
That's so serious. I had to turn everything down. But listen, I could just give you a real quick question about what we're talking about. Is that you're married, right? Or you're not married anymore? Are you married again?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm married.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm married.
So let me ask you a question. How often do you require or do you need your wife to give you affirmation, to tell you that she appreciates the things you do for her? And how often does she do it? How often do you need it?
Well, when we was together, right now we in separation, but we're trying to rekindle everything. But when we was together in the same location, she thought I needed too much. She thought I was one too much of it.
Okay.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you.
She thought I needed. Yeah, she thought I needed too much of it. But like Mr. Bennett said, that's one of my main love languages. I need affirmation. That's something that I need. I need to be. Not that I can't go out there and do it my own, but just to know that you got my back. Let me know that if I have a down day, you bring in that peace to where it'd be like, all right, babe, I see what's going on. It's gonna work itself out. God got it. Things of that nature. So that's been now for me, I'm active service. I'm like Mr. Bennett with that. I mean, it's like I'm always trying to give whatever it is. If I see a need, I take the lead. I don't care what it is. Especially when it comes to my wife. For her, she would consider me to be a smother. It's like, hey, you mind? I'm gonna let you know that you mind, and I ain't trying to let you go. So for her act, her love language was more so, I'm good with it, but I don't want it all the time. So that's trying to get that together. We just 10 years in. So, it's a learning experience, but based off of, from me, yeah, she would tell anybody, he's too goddamn needy. It's not that I need, it's just that, hey, I love you that much, that's how much of it I want. I would rather get it from you than trying to sit up there and look outside somewhere else.
That's
the attention and all that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because honestly, when you sit back and think about it, and this goes for men and women, you ain't taking care of what's going on in your home, that means that somebody else is going to pay attention to it. Okay. If you don't watch it. That's just my personal opinion.
No, it's a good point. And like I said, it's going to change. It's depending on how you grow as a person, is going to change again what that need is. And that's why, again, even in marriage, you have to be always attentive to what's going on. Like, marriage, you can't go on autopilot with it. Because again, depending on the season, depending on the changes, the physical changes, the hormonal changes, you have kids, you change jobs, you get sick, whatever stage you're in, you have to be engaged with your spouse to know it's like, is everything good? But a lot of people say, oh, we good. We've been married 10 years. We married 50 years. Like I said, especially when C-19 came, there was a bunch of divorces.
Hey, man, honestly, to speak to what you saying, Mr. Bennett, that's when the beginning I had got fired from a job that I was on for 11 years.
Yeah.
And months later, C-19 happened.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I mean, we was already kind of having issues, but I mean, it went straight into, a year we lasted, and then it was like she couldn't deal with it no more. She had her menopause going on to where she didn't know that was a hormonal change.
Yeah.
I was still trying to learn something about that because that was something that I was like, whoa, she had about 5 years on me in age. So it was hard for me to understand what it was that she was technically going through because she, always moody. So sometimes I couldn't figure out, okay, is this just her tripping or is she really going through this, what it is she say she going through?
Right.
So it took a learning experience for me where I had to go within myself and I had to really get with God and get within myself to figure out, okay, what type of man or what type of husband are you trying to be? Are you trying to be one of these husbands that can't, the minute that you ain't getting what you want, you bowing out, or are you gonna be that husband that's gonna do the work and really learn your wife to the point to where you can actually help her through whatever it is that she's going through.
Right.
Now, like I said,
go ahead, finish off. Landon for a second, because I have another question I want to ask you before we move too far away from. Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm good. Go ahead.
So I asked Anissa this before, but Mr. Bennett, you weren't up here. Neither were you, Scorch Earth. Maybe you weren't even here, Trey Ferg. Do you guys think women are wired by nature to take men for granted?
Hell yeah. True.
I just said this.
There wouldn't be women if they wasn't.
I think women in general, again, women are nesters. I think by nature. I mean, it's once you get your nest, you don't want things to change. You want to operate in a certain level of comfort. Some people, they like change like all the time. Like men, we want challenges. We would just want to switch stuff up just for switching stuff up. But a lot of times, like for women, like once they get into a comfy place, it's very difficult for them to want to leave it. So that idea of normalcy is something that I see more times than not that I think women appreciate, unless you tell them that, look, this needs to change, or I'm feeling different about certain things, or I would like a change in this attitude, this behavior, or something, is when they may respond differently. But once the nest is formed, don't mess with my peace, don't mess with my whatever. Everything is good, and I don't, this is the new normal, and anything that's going to take me off my normal is yeah. So I think there is some some truth to that.
Listen, hey, BMU, do you have that TikTok video queued up?
Hey, I'll speak to Brother Bennett. Listen,
go ahead.
If you married, thinking about getting married, whether you're man or woman, depending on your age, if you're 20 something, y'all can't just listen. Y'all gotta get away, focus on each other, grow up together, learn how to cook for each other. Fuck. You're a man, you should be cutting the grass, climbing up on top of the roof, fucking getting the squirrels off. All that's your job. She got a responsibility. She take care of the house. If she don't, if you got to show her how to cook and understand. Come on, man. Women are still just as hypergamous, and our Payne, I agree with everything. They're sort of nurtured through the rhetoric of the information that take us for granted. As far as naturally, they want a man naturally, and they want a brother with a big nose and a big hood, with a big sword and a big foot that can, and it ain't about the money. It ain't about the money. If women learn how to stop focusing on the rhetoric, just be their natural self, take all that cosmetic stuff off, save a little money, get themselves and kids out of debt, support the brother because the brother's still working. Come on, man. If you ain't married, you got to go live life. Find somebody that, if you married, man, listen, once you, like Brother Benny said, once you lock ends, once you get married, you got to take all the cheat codes off your locks, off your cell phone and all that. You got to be committed. If the woman commits, she don't even understand. She'll have all kinds of free time and good money, and as long as she's giving that box, if you can't cook, you got to give up the cakes. You can't cook, you got to give up the cakes. But if you can't cook, guy, and you know you want to eat, whose house you going to go over? The chick that eat or the woman that don't? Figure it out. Don't worry about how good she look. If you over 40, your ass getting a gut as a man, start working out. Women, your greatest asset is your virtue, is your cleanliness coming out the gate. I don't care if you got a mama or daddy. You 16, 17, you see that pressure of having sex, you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision. When older women stop telling these young girls out here to live their best life. Just say, find a man that love you and you better love him back. I don't know what love is. Well, just give him everything he wants. He don't want too much. Want his back rub, a good sandwich, some neck, some turnaround, some let's talk, save no money. Don't nobody get no money outside your house. Fuck everybody else. As far as people to come with their hand out, it's about the marriage. You got to be 100% in. When you get 50 years old and you've been in a marriage 10, 20 years and you 30, 40, man, you're going to have a couple of them rats sitting over there like, yeah, ain't nobody touch this. Get you a couple of dogs, a cat, go live your house, buy a house, or not, you're going to live in an apartment forever. That shit ain't fun. That shit ain't fun because all these brothers talking right here living in houses. Right. And that's where that money come in. They know. Stop listening to other people talk bad about you. Get away from that. Man, if y'all just stop being a little afraid to go live in the world, y'all be the greatest thing walking, for real. 21, 22, no kids. Shh. Man, it's jobs all over the world. Go learn a whole new skill. I'm telling you. You can't keep communicating with the women. They just, what they talking about? Her hair and her weave and her nails and somebody who she don't like. No, it's rhetoric. Take off that makeup, ladies. Y'all pretty as hell out here. Shit, we like a clean smelling woman. Fellas, get some muscles, man. Get rid of all your little breasts, man. When you 16, 18, start working on your forearms, your thighs, and your legs, and get some muscles. It make everything grow. This is the greatest time for y'all, man. Sisters, we just want y'all natural. If you live by yourself as a woman, you 28 to 48, your ass should be working out 5 days a week. Just work out. See how I like it. And stop spending all your extra money. Drinking too much cause health problems. That's what they do. Brothers, just keep working, man. Focus on self. And your mama that treat you right, whoever got you to your manhood, treat them right. Everybody else, stop letting people borrow money. Just keep it yourself. Working hard for it. Don't even give it to the white man.
Trey Bird.
Brothers have money. All gonna have money. It's all Trey good, Bird. Man. Play the video. I'm sorry, I think.
No, that's BMU trying to talk to you.
Yes, sir.
In your quiet time and your prayer time, I want you to go look something up. I want you to go look up 2.1. And what I mean by that is, when you talk about being natural, that's never going to happen. For the last 3 years, the weave and the wig industry has made $2.1 billion. You know how much they spent on education last year?
Who sisters or black people in general?
Not enough.
$346 million was spent on the education project for the kids, and $2.1 billion was spent on weaves, wigs, blue magic, and stick pins. This is what I'm talking about.
But here's another flip side to our BMU. I'm 1,000% with you because I say it all the time. Women are hypergamous. If you look at, they spend thousands of dollars on themselves. It ain't going for the kids. Look, healthy projects. It ain't going for the kids active in sports. Brothers, if you got a child, the child old enough to talk, just go talk to your baby, 15, 16, 14. They look just like you, waiting on you. Just come over and hug them. Y'all can go cry together. Nobody got to know. Don't even talk about their mamas. Their mamas is going to be sad. Amen. Don't even talk about the baby mama. You got a baby look like you? Worry about your baby, man, your child, man. I'm telling you. That shit'll pay dividends down the road. It be some of y'all smart, good looking, pretty, light skinned, chocolate, short hair, long hair, fat nose, big johns, because they scared of y'all with them big muscles. So you can come together, man. You can rock.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 100%, man. Women just gotta just go natural. Stop spending $1 billion, $1 trillion. Even you going into colleges, you gotta weigh it out. Learn a skill. YouTube provides skills. You can learn a skill how to
hold on for a second, Trey Fergie. Hold on for 1 second, though. BMU, do you have that TikTok video?
Yep, I got it.
Can you the first part of it? I'd like you to play it, but it's not. It's kind of take us a little bit to where I think some of our problems are. Trey Fergie.
Now listen.
So you might get a kick out of this. Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Now listen. This is not me telling you to marry a financially irresponsible man, because I do believe that men have responsibilities and duties towards women that they are courting, that they're dating.
We need to start this from the beginning.
You said, now hold on. Now you gave me a timestamp.
No, but the first one says start. It's 2 parts, right?
Yeah,
the first part says from the beginning to like 3 something.
Okay, I got you. Hold on. Go back to talking. I got you in a few minutes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry, man. So that's all right. No harm, no foul.
Can I go back and ask again? I asked that question earlier. I didn't get necessarily a response to it, but again, a woman talking at her husband's funeral. Like I know, again, a good friend of mine, good friends of ours. Again, my man died. I think he was like 56 years old. I mean, in shape, did martial arts most of his life. I mean, just phenomenal shape. Actually trained. He became an amateur golfer. I mean, the guy just was always into something. And since he died, his wife, she's on Facebook. She posts something almost every week about him. Just like, and the question I ask is, I wonder if all this love that you're giving him now, I'm just wondering if he knew that when he was alive.
Right.
Hell no.
Just pouring out. And I'm not all into him like that.
Probably not.
So I'm just speaking at a funeral for her husband. Have you guys seen that? Like I said,
no, I have. I know exactly what you're saying. I think that's more by design somehow, not because the women don't want to. Women are being coddled, because they wear the black. But I think if a woman actually, I don't know if she needs permission.
But if it's about you're there because of the spouse, because of the husband.
Right.
And everyone is saying something about this is the man who you spent how many number of years with or whatever. Who else better to give life and breath to that man's life and what he meant to so many people than you?
Yes.
And why wouldn't you then, not even like people have to push you to do it.
Right.
It's almost like I said, if any one of our spouses died, it would be no question that if anyone's going to send my wife off, it's going to be us.
Right.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
But for the women, it's just something that they're at least, they.
Well, that's Anissa. Anissa, do you have any insight on that?
Really, I don't know. I mean,
But you know what he's talking about, though, right?
I do. I mean, fortunately, I haven't been to a ton of funerals. I don't know. I thought it was maybe customary that you just had other people, do it. I'm sure if the wife wanted to say something that she could. It just seems as though it's
I never see them. I never see them do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To be
Mr.
honest,
Bennett,
I don't know.
You know why she posting her dead husband on Facebook now? To get attention.
Man.
See,
that would change a lot. That again, we knew this couple for 20 some years. I mean, our kids grew up together, so that would I would, if I were to believe that, that would change a lot about how I actually thought about her. If I was to come to that realization, that would be shocking to me if that was the case. I thought, I thought it was just grieving. Because again, I mean, it was sudden. It was like, it wasn't like he was long. He was in the hospital for a minute. Oh, he got an infection, this, that, and the third, and he didn't come out. It blew all of us away. We couldn't believe it. Again, especially as fit as this gentleman was. I mean, even at 56, he had no body, he had six pack still, ripped. You know what I'm saying? And he just caught some illness. It wasn't C19. It was just something that he got, and he just didn't come out. And that happens more than we like to talk about, but it just was one of those things that we just couldn't believe it. And so I would want to think that, again, she's just grieving in terms of how much she misses him. And she talks about how much she meant to him and misses him and just, and I'm just saying, but how many men would be buoyed? And again, you don't even have to do it every week or whatever, the way, she was doing it. But again, for that kind of outpouring, what that would do for a husband, for a woman to show that much, to really pour herself out and let her man know how much she meant to him. I think a lot of marriages could be, could be saved if that. Yeah,
you knew the couple, right? You knew them, right?
Like I said, our kids.
So how did you see? How did you see them when y'all hung out and stuff like that? How were they? Were they normal?
They weren't all over each other. I mean, they're kind of conservative, so they weren't like all over. They weren't into PDA and things of that nature, but they did everything together. I mean, we would, because now our kids are pretty much grown, so we go, scratch golfing with them, and we'd hang out and stuff. And they did everything. They were kind of inseparable to an extent. Got married young. She might have been. I don't think she was even 20 years old when they got married. And so that's all she knew. I mean, she wasn't. From what I understand, she wasn't out there, had a bunch of bodies on her or something. She, he got her young, and they did everything together. And it was just one of those things where, when he went, it just, but I've never seen a wife put that kind of outpouring on her husband the way she did it after his death. I mean, you're talking, this is going on over 2+ years now. And it's not, I mean, it's gotten a little less over time, but like the first weeks or even several months, it was almost like a daily outpouring. But even now, especially on an anniversary time or whatever, she just, it's just like, I gotta cut those onions, because I can't take it. You know what I mean? It's
does she got a new boyfriend yet?
I don't think so. She's not.
I think that's sincere, man. I think that's sincere, brother. The guy been upstanding doing this thing.
Yeah.
And now he gone. She realized it's a shock, man. She need to step away from everybody for about 6 months, then get some counseling.
Yeah.
Go find somebody who has no vested interest, and she'll be all right. If she worked every day and saved her money, I know she saved her money that, based on what you're saying, they was
and she's a grandmother now. Her daughter.
Oh man, she hurt.
In fact, she's moving because the guy, he's in military. They're actually moving to Virginia, to base in Virginia.
She gotta get away from all that. She hurt.
She's gonna retire, move down there also to be closer to the grandkids and stuff like that. So I mean, last time we saw her, she was certainly a lot better than early on. But I think the shock of it and everything, and it was just his outpouring. But that was the thing that kept getting me. It's like, man, I wonder, I just pray that he knew this when he was alive.
That's
how much she really meant to right. I mean, I've never seen a woman ever do that, living or dying. I've never seen a woman ever have that kind of outpouring for her husband like that. I was like, wow.
Anyway, so BMU, we ready? He's gone.
Dang, brother, man, that's some serious stuff, man.
Yeah, man. And again, I've lost probably in the last 3-4 years at least 4 or 5 good brothers in their 40s, in their 50s.
Wow.
Just so I mean, that's why when I'm on here, when I'm on my Instagram or whatever, I'm like, fitness over 50. I'm like, take care of yourself, take care of your health. Like my brother Hank be saying, take that finger in the butt. Do everything you can to maintain.
That feels down, man.
I'm just saying. I mean,
use the technology.
If you haven't had your colon and they say for
you better get that check. You ain't got that shit by 50. You behind.
So get that colonoscopy. Don't hold any of that stuff off, because you just never know when something's going on at any time.
Yeah, I'm too in already. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, is it true that when it comes to that colonoscopy, they got it now to where they can check it?
We're not gonna tell you. Just do the shit. We ain't gonna tell you.
Nah, hell no, man. I don't want nobody sticking no finger in my butt.
We'll tell you after the video. We'll tell you after the video.
Hey, I'm 51, so I gotta do it. I'm just saying.
Tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow.
We'll tell you after the video. Okay, let's roll the clip.
No, we ain't gonna tell him. He gonna find out.
You ain't crap.
Hold on. Hey, roll the clip.
It always got to be that one nigga in the classroom that keep talking when the teacher talking. God damn.
Listen, this revelation I'm about to drop is so deep, and I might make a full video, but please listen to this with an open mind, because it's going to set some of you free. We as women are being groomed by many of these content creators to be prostitutes. Let me explain. I used to listen to a lot of this like hypergamy, femininity content online, okay? The sprinkle lady, I knew about her like way before she blew up on TikTok, all right? I was there. I used to listen to her consistently. People like her, I would listen to, okay, she talk about the dusties and hypergamy and the kind of men you should be chasing. I used to listen to all of that before I got saved. Now listen, that content was making me so bitter and angry at men. And I had never hated men really like that before. I have had negative experiences with men, but I've never hated or like disliked or been embittered towards men the way that I was in that season. And the reason I became so bitter is because I was taking on their bitterness. Bitterness is contagious, okay? The Bible says that bitterness, when it takes root, actually defiles many people. So let me read you. See to it that no one falls short of the grace of God, and that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. Bitterness is contagious. When you are consistently listening to somebody who hates men or who's constantly calling men dusties, dehumanizing men, you will eventually pick up and take on that mindset. Now, this is why it's important. When you become bitter towards men, when you become desensitized towards the fact that they are human beings and you start to hate them, this is when you start to really listen to the women that tell you to only use men for their money, to, take him for everything he's worth, to not care about love, to not care about any of the things that make a relationship beautiful, but to simply go after the money. And even as I'm saying this, some of you guys are going to feel angry at me. Some of you guys may feel tempted to call me whatever it is, a pick me, or be angry, or rise up in your spirit and say, but what about men? Listen, you are being trained based on what you're consistently feeding your mind to desensitize yourself towards human beings. And because you have that hatred, because you are desensitized, that's when you go out and start to use men like how a prostitute would. What does a prostitute do? A prostitute sells her body in exchange for money, for material gifts. When you are dating a man or with a man, not because you care about him, not because you love him, but simply because of the lifestyle he can provide for you, your heart isn't in it. Your head isn't in it. You are a prostitute. And you are being groomed. We are being groomed. They're attempting to groom us into being prostitutes. Now listen.
Okay,
this is not me telling you to marry.
That's you can stop it there. So listen, before anybody goes, right? The way I tie this in is that women, like I said, have a certain nature, and I think that social media is. And I always talk about puppet masters and grooming, but the one thing I haven't really seen, if you think about all the panels that we're on, sprinkle lady, the lesbian who's the queen, and all these kind of stuff. Where is the men that are their bitches? Like, for example, the sprinkle lady will say a whole bunch of shit, but where's the man in the house to come on the mic and say, yeah, I'm her bitch, and everything she says I agree with. Where none of these women show the receipts in the moment. They say all this stuff online, but I don't see the man in the house that gets on a mic right after they say this shit and say, yeah, I co-sign everything she says. You know, anything she asks me, I'm gonna do. Anything I think of. It's just so much hyperbole that they're talking about with no receipts on how true it is or not, because I never see the men following them up in the moment, right? So and the sprinkle lady is a good one. Where's her man at that believes this bullshit that she's talking about? Where's the chick who said I didn't want to go on this date because he only gave me $30 instead of $100? Is there really a man out there? How about the big back chick who's getting money from everybody, who has stupid Charlemagne the God apologizing when he shouldn't have, and who's grifting everybody because a guy bought her a car and paid her rent for a year? What he lied to me? So what? You were sucking him dry for everything he had when it was in your benefit, and so when you found out he lied, now you want everybody to feel sorry for you. I mean, so that shit pisses me off, and I think too many of us fall prey to that. But that also kind of says that if women could be so easily manipulated, is there something inherent in them that could be taken advantage of, just like men? Where we could be taken advantage of in certain ways by the puppet masters because of some of our basic nature. Sexuality is one of them. Our need to have sex with women could be easily manipulated. So I'm just saying that we have to somehow guard ourselves, just like this young lady was saying, from the devil's work. Because it really shouldn't be that hard for us to cleave to each other as men and women. That shit's supposed to be natural. It really is. So I mean, let me just stop my diatribe there. Maybe you guys got me or not, but whoever's next, go ahead, roll.
I think Scorch was in the middle of a point though, or you had a question.
Oh no, y'all don't want to answer. Y'all want me to be introduction to supper, so I ain't gonna worry about it.
I'll tell you about the colonoscopy. Listen, they put you under.
Yeah, you're talking about two different things, man. The that's the prostate exam that you get when you go to your annual doctor's checkup every year. The colonoscopy, that's like a prep, and that's like a totally different thing. So
what's the one where they stick it into your where it comes out? Not in the butt, but in the front.
Man, listen, get both of them, bro. Get both of them, bro. Go, let the doctor do their work, man.
Yeah,
man. I'm not. I just asked the question. They said that they do it now, where they check by checking your blood. That's all.
However you want them to do it, just let them do it. It don't matter.
Yeah, I'll let them do it.
I'm not. No, they do have those. They do have those. I've heard of those. So it's something where I don't know if it's a sample and they're able to do from the blood. It's not 100% as accurate as getting the colonoscopy. You only get it once every 10 years. Right. So it's not something that's every year. The prostate exam where you get the doctor puts the finger in and feels around. That should be at least once a year, if not twice. If you're over,
if you play sports, they checked your little testicles and they do a little more extension. If you play sports, you know what Brother Bennett talking about. If you didn't know, that's what it is, bro.
Yeah.
It's been 30 years since I done had that. Now, since I've been over 30 years since I've been in high school, man. I ain't come on now.
Let me tell you this. You can double up, man. When they put you under for your colonoscopy, tell the other guy to stick his finger in your butt first while you're sleeping. You won't know. They can put it together, man.
Hey, I won't feel like I'm violated, will I?
No.
Okay, cool.
Listen, man, we've been eating and drinking in America food all our life. We know a lot of stuff is bad, and a lot of brothers, y'all hold that shit in. Y'all won't get it out when it comes 2 to 3 times a day.
Yeah.
But even women hold it all day. You got to let it go. Okay, so you got a clear colon. You strong as hell. You got to eat right, especially when you turn 50, bro. You slow down a little bit. You working and coming home, trying to be a family man if you can be that. You just get your colon, let the doctors do the doctor stuff. Get you a black doctor, man, a bro, help you out here, tell you everything you need to know. Then you got to follow
get yourself a fat fingered doctor.
See, I ain't messing with you. Bob, yeah. But yeah, man, get it, man. You fit it, man. Get that.
Yeah.
Yo, okay, so back on the subject. I mean, the lady wasn't telling no lies. And she's kind of, she's just, she's not telling any lies. I mean, she was just going from the woman's perspective that some people are being groomed. Some of this stuff is insidious, man. And it's just, and we're all subject. If we're in this echo chamber, and we need more panels like this and less panels like the Fight Club used to be in terms of getting points across, because people are getting hypnotized by what's on TikTok, especially TikTok. That's insidious. I think that's complete programming from the Chinese.
But wherever it's programming from, you got to look at us, man. If you're an individual, you're going to evolve as an individual. In your 20s as a man is the greatest time, man. Especially after what we've done seen for the last 30 years, you got to look at things for an individual. You got to become directly hypergamous in you 20. Once you turn 21, the world is yours. Especially what y'all say that y'all can't do. And ain't nobody helping you and everybody's against you. Well, you got to become hypergamous then. You got to save your money, work a little job until you get a better job. If you don't want to do that, you got to go to college. But we know women already pay $50,000, $60,000 in debt. You ain't got no kids. You don't need that debt. Just work, save your money, stop buying the fake Louis and buying $500 belts and tennis shoes. That's a little boy talk to me. When you ready to grow up, get you some dress shoes and a couple of suits with little tie, little matching colors, and then get you some cologne. You'll be a man, save your money. And when you get 35, 45, like our Payne, you have a house and 2-3 college kids and 2 cars, and you can go anywhere. You can go in the backyard and just have a great day, and your wife bring you a sandwich. Here, baby. Yeah. But you got to get there first. If you ain't there, don't talk about marriage. You gotta be a man and a woman. You're a woman. The greatest marriage, you can just be natural. Whether you long or short. All y'all got big ass heads. We love those big heads anyway. Show me a woman with a small head. If you single, stop drinking every day. If you smoke cigarettes and make your breath stink, you get all in your clothes. Now, if you're a man that smoke with her, y'all smoke together. But it cause health problems. See how we feed into America? I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. Smoke cigarettes and be sexy. You'll get a husband. Keep them bodies tight.
That's your show right there, man. That's your next live right there. This whole thing what you're saying now, that should be your next live. Next time you get on, just do a whole segment on health and all the stuff that you're dropping now. That's that kind of content you can definitely drop down, because I know you're passionate.
If you want to live life, man, now is the greatest time. Once you turn 21, listen, women, if y'all listen to other women talk about how to be a man and get a man, you in the wrong field. You're going to lose. I can tell you that now. You're going to live 25, 30 years of losing. But if you go find out about a man, a brother is out here, it might be quiet. If you're ready to commit, come in with your money first. And come in with some skills. But if you going to work for the Uncle Sam, you sit at a desk, don't in a cubicle for 8-9 hours. Then you come home, you're tired, been sitting in the chair. The man been out in the sun, he been working, fixing stuff. Y'all both get home at 5, she having kids in order. It can only happen if you got your own kids, fellas. Woman got 2-3 kids coming in, you got to be, hey, it's your law or nothing. You got to cut out the outside world, focus on the family. You get them kids young, especially if you're smart, strong. If she can't commit to you, then move on, man. Ladies, you can't hang out with your girls. Hanging out with girls is like, that's supposed to end really in the 7th grade, hanging out with your girl. Because by 8th grade, you're supposed to be just trying to grow up. Women, y'all can't let y'all daughters out here keep on having these butt naked sexes at 14, 15, because y'all out at the club drinking. Yeah, y'all getting groomed by y'all listen to the rhetoric. Black man ain't telling y'all go out here and do it. We saying come home. Just try to make it with us. Ain't nobody out here like that. Brother, stop going to the club, man. But support each other. Stop talking about what somebody did to you 10 years ago and you 25, 30. Go live life, man. Make a decision. Join the military. Get you a skill, drive a truck, or welder, carpenter. All those skills ain't gonna never go nowhere. Never. If you smart with computers, break your computer down in your basement and build it back up. It's a skill. Because everybody talking about what they ain't gonna do. America go phase out the regular, man. If you ain't trying to get certified, you retire. Brothers out here, retire. Keep doing it, brothers. Retire. Got your family. Stay. Women, just stay with your husband. Don't get out here on these streets unprotected. Women, stop telling the young girls to dress like y'all. They can't dress 21 and over at 17, 18, 19. That's you. Once you turn 30, man, you're supposed to have a turtleneck on. Nobody want to see them titties, man, for real. Nobody want to see your butt.
God,
supposed to be for a husband after 30. Because back in the because women used to say by the time they turn 30, they won't have a husband. At least by 30. Shoot, they wait till they 45.
People like a need for that.
Man, y'all can do it. If y'all just cut back, it's only going to take 5 years. They say our wealth is going to be a zero.
So you got some pushback to that, you know.
You said 1.7 trillion on hair and weave. Come on, man. Tell me the biggest.
You know, Trey Ferg, you know, you're right. I mean, the point really is. My point is, and somebody said about the money, and it's such a large issue about, especially Black women and their inherent inferiority complex in terms of the way they look. I don't know how they got here, you know, that bad. Maybe I do, but it's just so prevalent now. I remember back in the day when the ladies just were naturally pretty, man. And, you know, the guys that, you know, before I went bald, you sit down with a nice honey, she's braiding your hair and shit. And, you know, and you feel, I mean, it's because it's like you're sitting between her legs and everything. I'm saying, you know, shit, you cock on a walk on the stoop, you know, have a honey braiding your hair and stuff. Back in the day, we used to just hang out together, the boys, the girls.
You had cornrows back then?
Yeah, I did. I did, man.
Oh, you gotta show some pictures, man.
I used to be halfway decent, man. I used to be halfway decent. Anyway, but the fact is, I don't know how we got. I mean, I guess I do, but I don't know how we allowed it so much. And you know, from the Moynihan report all the way up in that so-called New Deal after the Civil Rights era, they thought they were supposed to be helping us, but I think the plan was always to destroy the black family. And then our acceptance of the eugenics program from Margaret Sanger, and we're on autopilot.
But that was way earlier, RB.
No, what I'm saying is, but it didn't really show fruition until around 50 years ago.
Not true.
I'm talking about in the numbers.
I don't know about the numbers either, because remember that, and that was a point. That was a point that BMU raised earlier about Black women back then, and that they weren't out there having the.
What years you're talking? What years
you're talking about the 20s and 30s. I think you're also talking regionally. That was also a regional thing. If you look at the urban centers, the 1910s, the 1920s, the 1930s.
Yeah,
that's when all that stuff with the Sanger and the eugenics, that's when that stuff really started happening.
It started, but the numbers didn't blow up until recently, to the last 50 years.
Brother Benny, it was like less than 10%.
But I'm trying to see I'm trying to distinction you're trying to make. We know it started in the 30s or back then, but the program didn't gain the kind of speed with by law.
It happened with the crack era, Brother Payne. The crack era tore it up. Think about it, man. It's been a lot of single mothers.
But I'm just trying to understand where, I'm not disputing that.
No, all I'm saying is the conversation. I think it's a bit more nuanced when we talk about back in the day. It's back in the day, but also where, when you can compare rural, especially rural South versus your urban centers.
Well, let's talk about now.
Your ghettos and those kind of areas. A lot of stuff was going on back then that was pretty messed up and pretty ratchet even at those times. Oh, that's all I'm saying. I'm not disputing the current state of what things are, or even the expansion of such services in the 60s and whatnot during that time. I'm just saying, but the symptoms, why that stuff was allowed to propagate. It wasn't that everybody was virtuous back again in that time.
No, but it still was a eugenics program.
But
even
Bennett,
though
we
back
was
then-
about
The eugenics
50%.
program that started in the 20s and started in the 60s. That's all I'm saying.
No, wait a second. I didn't say it didn't have a genesis in the 20s. I'm just saying that it took off in the 60s. If the plan was always back then to eradicate the future.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
so I agree with you 100%. So I don't think we're
Y'all saying the same thing, yeah.
So you're right.
But
anyway,
it's a small.
Go ahead, Trey. Go ahead, man.
You know, we can probably much go back because I look at America really, especially us as a nation, from the end of slavery. I don't even count that time. I don't even it ain't nothing. We all know as much smack as we talk today. If we was in it, we was in it. We have been blessed by our ancestors. Can't nobody tell me nothing about nobody that was in that bondage. Nobody. Don't even talk about it. Some of y'all didn't even pay attention in history class, so we move on from that. But as far as through our time of advancement, more stuff was invented from the end of slavery to the 20s, 30s. And in the 1930s, the women, they started the first labor union. They was part of it with the Pullman Portage. I got to go read up on that. These people were making $80,000 a year straight out of slavery. Children was graduating college. Everybody could read, write, multiply, divide. Everybody worked. Everybody went to college. Everybody went on to be some doctors. You got to do the research. Just Pullman Porters, just do it. And
I know about the Pullman Porters, but
here we are today with all that stuff that they invented. We are the most divided when it comes to financial understanding, just social understanding as far as being able to get along regardless of how our ancestors, even coming out of that time. Look, we are product of the rhetoric and the feminism too, because think about it. When did you ever see a bald-headed picture of a black man with a big nose back in those early days? Never. Somebody got one of their uncle or grandfather, even the women had hair. Everybody had nice thick froze. So, man, we get it too. We shouldn't be bald up here. Everybody should have a brother like being hair, like BMU, that thick, good hair, that sit down good and stand up to the sun. We should be getting along. We made a way getting married and came through strong. We was moving and grooving. Feminism came in, took the fathers out the home because everybody moved and migrated, went out of civil rights, and everybody was scattered. We was all over. So when they came in, moved everybody into the projects, it was some great mothers that raised big children coming out of projects. That's why you see a lot of these, I hear a lot of these Hall of Famers that they say, man, my mama did. Yeah, mama was good. She was strong. She didn't have her breasts out. She didn't have her titties, her booty out. She wasn't going to the tattoo party. She was cooking and had them boys disciplined, and they protected them. Once the projects came in, then crack came in and tore it up, man. I'm telling you. Because, man, crack came in and ripped the mothers out the home. Just go back and look at the DCFS rate. Some states is DCS, DCF. Go back and look at those rates when crack came in. It was 400,000 or 500,000, almost 500,000 kids in foster care in Chicago, in the city. Everywhere, every other state, I used to look it up. It'd be 20, 25, 30,000 brothers, little kids, black kids. Come on, man. Women go advocate for the man to get joint custody. Give him the baby. Give the baby up to the man if he's a good man. If he ain't a good man, find a righteous man. Then that means if you don't want to have a baby by a dude that ain't doing nothing, don't get pregnant. Protect yourself. Why even have sex with him? He has to earn his way. Brother, you supposed to be so fine based off your body and your awareness of who you are. She wants you. She don't want you. Keep it moving. Don't even let her put her dirty hands on you with that fake grease and with that. I mean the nails, and this is nasty. But they put that in their mouth, grab burgers with it, grab blunts with it. Come on, man. Take that off, ladies. Come on, back to the
so Trey Ferg, so you agree with me, man? So you kind of agree, right? If you got a woman, right, you should expect certain gratitude from her, and she should expect certain obligations from you. Correct?
Yes, and
You know,
gratitude too. You know, I'm glad
yeah. Well, I'm
she's
just saying,
following.
you gotta go.
That's
Gratitude
just me.
goes both ways. And so I'm just trying to, just kind of put a bow on the show because I hear where we're going, and I think that I wanted to get what I wanted out of you guys in terms of, how our relationships go. When most of us are married up here, I know in this week we're waiting on you, but we're waiting on you.
What
Matter
was
of
that?
fact,
What's his name? Scorched Earth said. You asked me
yeah,
if I had pushback. I didn't hear what he said.
no,
Did
I
I
don't
miss?
know. I
Okay.
don't think he asked you that. But we're gonna make a deal with you. I know you probably got a hidden boyfriend somewhere, but
Oh my
if you want to get married, you need to bring him in front of the congregation so we can vet him for you.
Well, I wanted to respond to the video earlier what the young lady was saying.
Yes,
I
please do.
agree.
Please do.
We have to be careful about this social media influence all around.
Yes.
Men and women. I think there are some dangerous messages that are being sent to women, and I think there are some dangerous messages being sent to men as well.
Yeah.
Um,
You always like to
you know,
equivocate things, but can you give me
so
an example of?
if you have to come to social media to learn some of these things, I think that's the biggest problem right there. It's you should
Yeah.
not have to come to these spaces to be learning these things. You should have been taught these things, within your family, and people that you admire and respect that are doing and have the relationships and marriages that you admire. If this is your first stop, like I gotta get to social media to learn this stuff, I think that's a problem within itself.
Hey, you gotta go on mute, CBN. CBN gotta go on mute. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with what you said, but without trying to equivocate, what she said though about the woman and the women being groomed to be prostitutes is a little bit more prevalent, right? Because again, when it comes to sex and money, and when it comes to sex, I know you don't like this, but women kind of control that space. Men take advantage of it, but it's still women's space to guard. And if you have ladies trying to tell women, listen, the only value of a man is how much money he can provide you, that young lady is correct. Because men will pay the money. Men will like those pictures. And they'll never stop. I mean, men will never stop. This whole notion that somehow men are not going to stop liking pretty women, it's just crazy to even bring that shit up. I think the only way you could really tell a man to be disciplined is by telling him the consequences of his actions and then showing him evidence and receipts that if you go down this path, this is how your life is going to be. And I think some of the same things, like now I'm equivocating, needs to be told to women. If you're 18 or 17 years old and you have a baby, this is at best your life is going to be arrested for 5 years. Because anything you had planned has to get put on hold until somebody else can take care of your kid, and you don't have to watch him that same way.
Right.
And you have to have a support system.
No, I
Right?
agree
That's
with
at
that.
best. That's at best. At worst, you don't have that support system. Now your whole family's destroyed. So and the support system is dying off. The baby boomers and the Gen Xers, especially the baby boomers who had those houses and those marriages.
Man, I ain't dying off. Payne. I'm hearing exactly what you're talking about.
Those grandmothers won't be around to take those kids on like they did before. I've seen it in my own family. So, because Gen Xers and millennials, they ain't taking care of kids like that. They ain't taking care of the mistakes that their offspring make, like the baby boomers did, and the older Gen Xers. They are not going to do it.
No, and we're not.
So anyway, there's a double-edged sword there. Men have to understand that if you go ahead and shoot up the club, you're on the hook. If you're 18, I'm sitting down here, the horror story of thinking I got to pay somebody money until I'm 36 years old and I'm 18. That's crazy.
Exactly. That should scare the beheebies out of you and make you not want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, go ahead. Your life is different from a lot of the young men. Think about it. You lived it, because you've already bypassed it. Now, how would we teach an 18-year-old to not go
I can answer that.
Live that same path?
But I can answer that, Trey. I didn't get married till I was 29. So, and I stopped fooling around with girls when I was like 27 when I met my wife. Let me say what I'm gonna say. There was more than a few times that I did a raw dog thing and I was waiting for that phone call from that girl to tell me her period came. That's what I would tell a young guy. I would say, listen, I know what it feels like to worry about a woman being pregnant and you're not ready for a kid. I know what it's so I'm not going to tell you not to have sex. I'm going to tell you don't have sex without a condom because I did it and I had sleepless weeks waiting for the phone call.
But I'm Payne. Yes, listen, I 1,000% agree, Payne, because you automatically think as a father, like, no, you're gonna protect it. Like you said, you're not gonna deny him the nature of it, but you're gonna make sure based on what you know and the health issues, no, son, look, you're gonna get this, I'm your daddy, so you know who you are, Payne. You speak about it all the time. Ain't nothing better what a man can get. You just gonna tell him you're going to be on that protection plan first.
Yeah, you got to be.
And,
and I would tell my daughters, listen, I can't tell you not to have sex. But I said, if you there's problems, there's diseases and there's things you can't come back from. So you got to make sure. So like maybe I was crazy.
So brother, you hear our Payne. Our Payne is a father. He's a father.
Listen, yeah, okay, but I was
protect yourself, brothers. Don't have no babies out of wedlock. Wear a condom.
Exactly.
Let her give you some neck until she can't neck no more. Then just say, I'm gonna put this on with your neck. They'll do it. Y'all saying how nasty they are.
You know what, man? You guys, that's the message. All I'm just trying to say to you guys and gals. That men, and I had that little piece they keep showing. I'm glad they don't show it no more. But let me tell you, where everything you're saying is easier said than done for a man. Well, if that woman tells you to take that damn thing off, most men are going to take it off. They just are.
That's where you mess up, right?
But see, again, even us as men, we still a boy if we doing that. Hey, we take those chances about this boy. No, listen. If a lot of men and some men figure it out, they know if they can have enough discipline, early, whether they get married or not, they stay and they smart as hell. Because I like the brother that can do his schoolwork and graduate and smart, become everything he want, save his money.
I'm not arguing with you. I agree.
He's gonna be able to live his life. Women already showing you, especially if you between 25 and 45, women already showing you. They ain't trying to give in nothing, but they want everything. So you just do what you do. Just protect yourself. No babies.
I'm not arguing with you. I agree with you. The earlier we can get men the earlier we can get men to understand the consequences of their actions, spreading that seed willy-nilly, the better.
And brothers are more valuable.
We just got to give them the whole message, not just say no message.
Yeah, and both of them, and both of the young black men and young women don't understand how valuable they are, as long as both of them are single with no children.
Yeah,
don't have no children, ladies. Protect yourself. Y'all see, a woman found out about a disease 6 months into having it. A man will find out a couple of days. So if y'all gonna do it, everybody just get healthy. That's all I'm saying. Just get healthy out there. You're single. Brother, just stop chasing the madness. Women, listen, y'all being groomed by the rhetoric that y'all heard from the other side. Men are just saying, make a sandwich. That's it. You got to save your money. Stop spending all your money. Come natural. Y'all get your own self out of debt in 5 years if y'all stop buying all that damn weave product.
You got a thing about that.
Because Anissa, but I seen you with the light on your skin machine.
Natural hair. You know what?
But I seen you with the light on and your skin be shining once some natural oils kick in. I seen you on the video, on the camera.
That's that wine coming up.
That's the look man want.
No, I'm natural, but I'm just saying, you make sure you get that in no matter what we talking about.
Yeah, because y'all smell fresh without all that. Y'all know how good y'all smell without all that weed in y'all hair. That weed in here smell like old wet lawn, like fresh grass cut sometimes. That sun get all in it. Man, y'all don't know how good it make, because look, a lot of your energy and a lot of your stuff leaves through your head and y'all covered up all day with a hat. There should be a hat on. No, that hair don't even breathe on your skin. It absorb all kinds of smells and stuff. Your cologne, your perfume, your powder, your fingernail polish, all that be in there. No, that ain't sexy at all. Your hair be just like that flower bed, just blossoming, standing up. We don't care about no curly hair, no hair like Brother CBN right there. We like that type of hair. It should smell better, ladies.
I prefer my natural. I've been saying that from day one. I've been that way because when I was put in my country, when 7 years over there, I was like, one woman dress be natural. She's at her best position.
Just cook a sandwich.
Well, just make a sandwich. Hey, listen, let's go around the horn for last. Scorcher, if you just came back up, man, we're gonna go final thoughts, my man. And you can go first, then Anissa, you can go. We good. He's going? Oh, go ahead, Scorcher. Go ahead.
Well, since I came in at the last minute, I'm gonna go on and bid everybody a farewell, good night, and I will make sure I let you guys know what the upkeep on when I go to the doctor and get violated for a few minutes.
Yeah, let us know, man. The key is
don't tell us, man. Don't tell us.
You'll be fine, man. You'll be fine.
Yeah. The next person go get it. Don't tell us. We want to hear about them tickling your cheeks.
I'm gonna make sure when I do it, man, I'm gonna drag my wife in there so she can hold my head while I'm crying.
Okay, you got it.
Oh my God.
You got it.
BMU, do not clip this. Do not clip that, BMU.
All right.
Oh, you can clip it with his predator self. Ain't nobody worried about that. I ain't ashamed. I'm gonna tell him like it is. I'm gonna cry like a goddamn baby. All like, hey, I don't like that. Don't be touching me down there. I'll scrunch up every time you get close.
They'll put you under, man. Don't worry about it. You ain't gonna know what hit you.
Y'all take it easy.
Yeah, take it easy. All right, Trey Ferg, you can go ahead next, man. We'll just go around.
No, man, I appreciate these type of conversations, man. You know, this young lady, she's too young. Somebody 20, 30 years younger than me, they can't tell me nothing, man. Just get out of my way.
You talking about this?
I'm talking about the video. No, not on this one. I'm talking about the video. Okay. You know, older women.
He's giving me a compliment.
She can't give anybody advice right now. She's too young. You know what I'm saying?
What kind of advice? Oh, I think she's gave some great advice.
I mean, she's saying that they are being groomed for it, yes, but it's not us grooming them. It's the rhetoric.
She didn't say men was grooming them. She said the women are grooming.
Yeah, the whole nonsense that other women fall into. All the sisters fall into the same rhetoric information. A lot of them. That's why it's only 20% of them getting married. If they reverse that course, all of y'all get married. That's what y'all want, ain't it? That's what y'all say y'all want. Ain't y'all reading the Bible? That's what it say. You want to cleave to a man, and he gonna protect you with his sword and his heart. But you gotta cleave to him. Get off your cell phone. Stop talking on. Stop putting all your booties on. We don't want to see no more booties for the next 30 days. No more booties and no more breasts, ladies. Put them all up. Take the weave out by Easter. Get it all out your head. Feed your children. Talk to them. Show them how to read, write. If not, give it to the father. If the father's a hardworking dude, just let him have it, and give them all the taxes, because y'all ain't doing nothing but blowing your taxes on BBLs and all that. No, give him back the money. He gonna raise one hell of a son, and you can just come in and say, yes, I did it, but focus on yourself, fellas. If you have a child, just take your child around the world. Just go do whatever. It's the greatest time. Or if you got a house and want a house, maybe buy you a house. I know it's high. Shoot, it's the great. You get your foundation, because the immigrants are coming and taking your apartments. All you women, you boss chicks with these high apartments, all that's going to be gone. So you better get a house soon that you're going to be outside. Winter is coming. I'm telling you. I'm sorry, I'm paying. Yeah, Anissa. You better find you one. You better make a deal with a dude and move him in that house you be in over. That's all he wanted. That's all he wanted is a sandwich. You can't make him a sandwich, then You're gonna be able. You better get you a pit bull. Now don't get a German Shepherd or a Great Dane, a big dog, because everybody gonna be looking for a spot. But if you got a man to protect you, make a deal with him. Make him a sandwich. Appreciate y'all, Payne.
You was on the fire today, man. All right, Trey, man. Go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead. You got what you got. I mean, no, what? Well, go ahead, Black David. What you got, man?
I would just say that the reason why we have this type of shenanigans going on for most of these women is because the father is not in their life to begin with.
We keep saying that.
2, there's nothing wrong with a woman catered to the man, even though it's biblically speaking and biblically spoken about it and have been dictated. That's the best way to a man's heart, will be catered to your heart. 3, this modern era is only meant for people who have no backbone, no structure, no order. This is why we have so much chaos and so many single women. That's the reason why. And 4, if you want to complain how what a man really want, then leave the man alone. Look for a Pookie and Wee and deal with those. That's what I gotta say.
All right, hey man, thanks for coming up. Even though you left me hanging there, BMU was almost in an accident trying to get home.
My bad.
Man. Listen, man, I'm only screaming on you, man. You know, man, I'm sorry, man. I'm only joking.
It's fine. It's fine.
Alyssa, what you got?
Just short and sweet. I think, women, we want these relationships and we say that we want to be married. You got to learn your man. You got to learn your man. You got to learn his needs, what makes him happy, to nurture the relationship with him. Absolutely nothing wrong with serving your man and catering to your man, especially if he's a man that's living up to his responsibilities with you. So, I mean, I have no pushback with that whatsoever, and I think a good woman actually enjoys doing it. And if women are not enjoying doing it, we need to get back to learning to enjoy, doing those things for our relationship. I think it's very important. It's necessary. And, a part of all of that is a part of communication. As we've heard from some of the men up here, every man is different. And that's why I say you got to learn your man and what it takes to make him happy. And that's it.
All right, thank you. Hey, listen, I appreciate you coming up because I know you've been here, but this is the first time you came up on my show, so I appreciate it. So.
I watch you. I'm in the chat usually.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I appreciate you coming up because I know you usually just in the chat. Well, anyway, listen,
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate this. You got to have a woman's point of view on things. Listen, I had some snappy stuff I wanted to say at the close, but I got what I wanted out of this thing because I had some I presuppose that most men were kind of the same in how they want their women to appreciate them, and I just found out with the small sample size that we pretty much are all different. I think me and Mr. Bennett are kind of close, but we're all different in the way we take that, and it's no right or wrong. Except that Scorched Earth also gave us an opportunity to see that it could be overplayed one way or the other. If you have too much expectation and you're too needy, and sometimes that can hurt your relationship as well. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm glad he was honest about talking about that. A lot of people don't do that. So, but anyway, so listen, that's all I want. I kind of wanted to know. I wanted to keep it elevated. I know BMU he came up here, and just and that was funny. Sometimes you need those kind of interludes. That back and forth with you and him was pretty good.
Take me off the plantation. That's all I'm asking. Just take me off the plantation. That's all.
Yeah,
take me off the plantation.
You don't want to get off from this.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wrestle with is because I've been married for so long. Of course, I wrestle with people telling me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And I think I have a unique view because I'm sitting on this perch and I lived back in the day and I've been through all the decades and I see what's going on now. And as far as I'm concerned, here's one thing I'm going to say, and it's kind of a segue. If I was single again today, and hopefully I won't be at all, I don't think I would have any trouble with women. I don't think I'd have any issues with women. because I think I understand how they are. The technology doesn't change that shit for me, but it's hard to explain that to people living through it. And one of my advantages is that I spent 36 years with the same woman who's always been a woman every day. And all the other women that I've met through all of those years who I work with, who I work for, who I interface with, my cousins, my nieces, and all that, the one thing I didn't try to do is sleep with them. So that means my relationship with all these other women is much more, uh, I guess, beneficial. You get a chance to know somebody other than their sexuality. And there's
Can I
so
ask
much
you a
more to
question,
women.
Payne?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So where did you get your idea about marriage and how to treat your wife? Because you seem like you have had a long marriage, and it appears that it's been a good one. So who taught you how
Nobody.
to love your wife?
Well, it's funny. It's just, it's everybody in my family was married.
Okay.
Nobody actually sat me down and said anything. My father was married. He was blessed enough to have 2 wives because my mother died when I was young. And he found that my stepmother was a beautiful woman. And all my aunts were married except 1 or 2. Of course, when you have a lot, there's always ones that are not married. And everybody stayed married till death do they part. So when I got into my 20s, and I was an engineer, and I knew where my career was going, I went looking for a wife. And let me tell you, I said this before, and I think a lot of people keep missing it. For 9 months or longer, I didn't sleep with anybody. I didn't try to just have any random girls at all. And the way I met my wife was uncanny because I really believed the fact that my head was clear, I was able to recognize her when I saw her. Do you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
No, I
And
agree with that. Yeah.
and so when the first time I talked, I said stuff to her when I first met her that I never said to anybody before. I swear it was like I wasn't afraid of any kind of rejection. And she tested me, but that first day we talked, we haven't stopped talking since. That first day that I met her, I don't think a day passed when we didn't talk to each other. The first time I took her out, I met her parents because I had
Yes.
to ring the doorbell. It was no blowing the
Right.
horn
Yeah.
and
You
all
couldn't
that
pick
shit.
up a girl unless you rang the doorbell. Nah,
Yeah.
that's how it
And see,
was. Yeah.
And so just to kind of answer your question, when we got engaged within 5 months, and I don't want to make this too long, but the fact is, when we first went out that first time, I told her I don't need another girlfriend. I want to know whether you're willing to see if we can make something happen with this thing. And she was all in from day one. And then we didn't get engaged then, but we just courted. We went right from meeting each other to courting.
Okay. And do you think that is common today?
No, hell. And I feel so.
It wasn't even common back then.
It
It
wasn't
wasn't
even.
even
I don't
common
think
back
how
then.
common. I don't know how common it was back then. But
I
but
think you
go
say
ahead.
exactly what I say though. You just confirm what I say. You know how you took that little time to sort of
Yeah.
focus on yourself and your career, that little 9 months. And when you came out of it, you came out like Steve Austin, how strong you was focused. See what I'm saying? And it worked out. And that's like what I be telling young guys, man. Focus on self, man. Dive into that and come out on the other side clean and go look for your wife. If she ain't ready, keep it moving. She gonna reveal herself to you. And in the meantime, women, Anissa, it's up to you to get these young girls married. It's up to
Well,
you the elder
and
stateswoman of
She can
that.
help. Women can help
You
other
know,
women by
you gotta focus on the women. Like,
we gotta
don't,
stop telling
yes,
them to wait till their 30s.
yes, tell them
Gotta
go get
stop
it
that.
now.
We gotta stop telling women that, and we gotta stop telling the guys that they gotta have everything together. That's not true. The 2 people don't have to be at the finish line to make a good marriage.
What?
You
You
know,
were 29. You were 29,
no, but I got engaged when I was 27. I met
Payne?
my
Okay.
wife a little bit 5 months before that, right? So I still was pretty young, right? So I didn't get married till I was 29, but I was out of the market at 27.
Okay. And
Let's
I
not
think that's a
let's
good
not
age.
forget we have a guy called Jedi Mike got married at the age of 25.
And then a couple of guys, I think Easy Money got married in his like 21, 22. So, but what we tell, and it's not just women, but they tell men this too. We need people to start getting married again in their 20s. And this whole notion of struggle love is the enemy of that, because when my first apartment with my wife, I had squirrels running on top of the goddamn drop ceiling. We were sleeping, we were trying to sleep at night. Squirrels were going back and forth.
No, the problem is, within the Black community, we have a different ideology. Outside the Black community, people are getting married young, building their family, and at the same time building their wealth. They're the reason why, statistically speaking, the Black community family is always at the bottom of the totem pole.
So we gonna come back. Yes, we're gonna get together anyway. We're gonna get fine. We're gonna switch that shit over. We
keep telling people wait till they get 30 or so. Your other acting will beating you to the punch.
You guys ain't gonna let us go, because this is a whole show in and itself, because all I'm telling you is this: that when two people get together young, if it really goes back to whether they really want to be together as their vows, and it's really not that complicated to be in love with and be connected to another person. You know why? Because that's why in the animal kingdom are we the only ones who make that shit complicated. Nobody else really makes it. Just because we can think and stuff, we put too much shit in our heads that goes against the natural programming that we have. I think men and women are naturally bound to be together. And here's why I say that. Because in all the wrong circumstances, when we're stroking each other, you put men in women's prison, he's stroking them. You put a transvestite in a man in a woman's prison, he's getting them pregnant. You put, if you were a slave and the white mistress woman wanted you, even under threat of death, he was still going into the room night riding. Let me tell you, man, men and women.
But I think, brother, this is my last. Listen, what you're saying is, to me, when I go back to our ancestors that was going through that, they fought that with everything they could resist with. When we came out of there, we was 100%. It wasn't, they fed into our ancestors in a sense, because they knew it was always 2 million more women than men in that whole dynamic. Since we've been here, it's always so you give everything free to the 2 million more women that go back and say, hey girl, I'm free, come on over here, without the skills, the jobs, and they push the brothers out. And this is where we are. But I think we can come out of that. We can come out of that.
I'm just talking about our primal nature. The reason why segregation was a big thing is they wanted to keep us apart from their women.
Exactly.
Because when men and women get in the same proximity, we're gonna bond. It doesn't matter what color you are, which religion you are, none of that. So why can't we do that under and make it a relationship that works? If we could do it just to have fun, we could do it to build something.
Because a young lady said it in the video, women are being programmed against us. Our whole dynamic as a man.
We're all being programmed. That
was but I think most of us want to work. Most brothers want to work. I don't think brothers really want to wake up and say, I want to go sell drugs. If they take the drugs, take cocaine and crack out of the neighborhood.
We all are being programmed. It's not just.
I know, but what I'm saying is brothers overcome it because we still have to fight through it. We still fight through it, despite the credit it goes back to what you say. Do they take us for granted? Think about how many people still.
Some of us fight. A lot of us are trying to fight through it. That's why we're talking here on this. But let's not give the brothers too many.
More positive than negative.
No. I'm just saying. Let's just put it this way. There's women who are fighting through their programming as well. We meet some of them. They need to fight. Well, wait a minute. They just need to fight harder to tell women better stories about themselves when they're younger, and stop telling women to have fun in their 20s. Stop telling them to have fun in their 20s, because men are telling all the women, I don't know how we can't shout it from the mountaintops any louder, that when you hit your 30s, it's going to be harder for you. It just is, especially for the men you want. Anyways, and that's true. But anyhow, we could talk about this all day. But one of the things I don't want to do, Trey Ferg, I don't want to. I know that it's easy for us to point fingers at this thing, but we
I don't know who's pointing fingers.
all are being programmed, and we all have to fight through it.
Yeah,
We
but
all have
our
to
pain,
fight through it.
we understand the programming. Do you understand the programming? Yes, you see it. You calling it out. You fighting against it, brother. See the women fighting against, but we got to get the women to fight against it and come on the other side of it. I'm telling you,
we got to get the men to
brother,
fight
keep
against
doing
it,
your thing.
and the women got to get other women to fight against it. That's what
gonna
I'm
do it.
saying.
Brother,
Women
get your
don't listen
daughters,
to
okay?
us, man. Don't you understand that? We got to get men to
So
fight
if they don't want to listen, as a black man, you should be on your square about everything in your life. Why are you chasing the women like that? Everything in your pocket should be secured. Your clothes, where you
no
stay, your
argument.
car,
No
your money, all
argument.
that.
There's no argument there. I'm just saying that it should be up to the women to fix women. It should be up to the women to fix women. They gotta fix women. You know, and we gotta fix men. And that's it, you know, and then we gotta come together and have this kind of discussion across the board without saying one is more to blame than the others. We all part of the social program. Feminism was the worst. It was really bad. But
brother, what do black men have control of?
Listen. What made men, you know, when we had the pressure, acquiesce to drugs? What made us do that? The war on drugs was against black men.
Of course. I was a teenager. I'm agree with you 1,000%.
So how come so many of us succumb to that? How come so many of us succumb to that? Because we were programmed. You know, so let me just end this on a positive note here. And
it should be positive. You thinking negative about Payne over?
No. I shouldn't have said it that way. I'm sorry. I should have said it that way. What I'm saying is, what we're talking about is a whole nother goddamn program. You know, so we could come back in and chop it up and make just the goddamn going, you know, the theme of the whole program, the whole show. Because we could talk about this stuff, the programming and how we overcome it. Maybe that's my next Monday's show.
Man, we already passed it. We passed it. Come on, folks. We passed it. We talked about it. Our pain. Think about it. You know everything that happened from the time that your ancestors was understanding in America. We talking about American history as it pertains to the African American born and raised in America, right? Okay. We all know the dynamic of that. No matter how old you are, younger people are not as connected to the civil rights and the Jim Crow and coming up free.
We could talk about the programming that's going on right now.
Because the women have to sort of come to the front to talk to
who? Okay, let's keep it out.
The women have to separate the boys from the women. Give the son to the father. And if you don't want that dynamic, then immediately stop having children out of wedlock. Because then the government is coming in and it puts your child at risk for everything we talk about. Drugs, sex, because that's all they're doing is throwing sex to you. Right. All they're doing is throwing drugs at you. It ain't. You can have all the jewelry you want as long as you get it honest. You can buy all the tennis shoes you want as long as you buy it honest. Give the son to the father. If that's not what you want to do, everybody cover up and just.
Okay, so Trey Ferb, right? And let me end the show on this one, man. Let me just end the show on this one. You could tell the women to give the sons to their fathers, but you still haven't given them the financial incentive to do so. That's why. Well, wait a minute, Trey. That's the deal. We keep jumping to what we think the solution is, but we always jump to the solution. The reason why shit is always messed up. There's a financial incentive for people to be the way they are, for family court to be the way it is, for women hanging on to sons they can't stand because he looks like the father.
But the women losing their financial
kid to get to the father.
But the women losing their financial decision
is not enough. Say what?
But the women losing their financial decision because the state and the government use that same rhetoric to disenfranchise us for getting jobs, putting their children on Ritalin and medicine, selling these bad products.
You're right.
But what I'm saying, if they would give us, this is just my thing, Arpane. Especially a single mother. These mothers are getting on here struggling. They're struggling. Give that boy to his father. If you see his dude is a bus driver, any type of job he got where he can get home and take care of that baby out to school, give him to him.
Okay.
Ain't no bond. The women don't have a bond with those children.
Is that message stronger coming from you or from another woman telling a woman?
I don't care who. I don't care who it's from.
Answer the question. Answer the question. Is that message stronger coming from you or another woman say, "Hey, girl, give that goddamn boy to his father"? Is she more ready to listen to a man tell her that or another woman tell her that? I'm just asking.
Anissa, could you answer that for me?
Anissa, are you still there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
No. The question is, yeah, did you hear the question?
Can you repeat it, please?
I said I was telling our Payne and just speaking to, if women would give their sons to their fathers, would that be a financial benefit for the family?
No, they're changing the question. The question really is, if women hear from women hear from other women to give those sons to their fathers, is the message resonating more if they hear from a woman or from a man?
I think in that situation, probably coming from the man, because I think the man could go to the woman and say, wow, you know, I'm a man. It takes a man to raise a man. And I think he would probably be able to appeal to the woman a little more. But the only pushback I have to that is you all continue to say that, but I think that makes a big assumption. And you are assuming, do all of these men want these kids?
Yeah, let's make that assumption.
Easily go to all of these men and say, take your son.
No, listen,
so you're making the assumption that they do, because it may not be the case.
Yeah, let's make that the assumption in this case.
Okay.
As long as it's verified. It's a DNA test. It's his son. Look just like him. He's got to have a DNA. You can't assume a DNA test is verified.
Yeah, but that's not what she means, though, Trey Ferg.
That's not what I mean.
I know that, but we verified that. That's just a part of
but that's not
it.
What she
whether
means.
He wants the child.
The father, even if it's a biological father, does he want his son?
Does he want his son? Because I think I was listening to a program the other day, and they said the percentage of men that actually do and that actually fight for their sons, that percentage is actually very low.
Yes, it is.
But it's recently being
so you're
low.
Assuming that all of these men are going to be like, yes, you know, give me my son. And
let's assume they don't. So I'm gonna speak to the brother. If you're a brother and you got a child and you don't want to have nothing to do with your child, then you'll never get out of financial literacy class. You're gonna stay broke for a very long time. If you have a child out of wedlock and you don't support that child in your home, it's more expensive because the state is coming in. Because the state gonna come in. You're a brother and sisters. Y'all have to understand, you can't emotionally transfer that boy from a child when he's cute and ain't talking back and eating that bad food you buying for him. Then he going to school, can't read, but he misses daddy, but he can't tell you because you mad at the daddy. Then y'all struggling. No, it'll be a financial relief off of you, because if it's his, then he gonna take care of it. And if he don't want it, then think about it. The state ain't gonna let no brother get away with not paying child support. They gonna find you when you 65. I ain't got the exact solution. You better try everything. You ain't got no children, don't have none unless you married.
But you know what, Trey? But the one thing she did say, and I got into an argument about this too, is that I think there's some validity to the fact that the men don't fight as hard as they should. You know, especially when there's a child support decree and a visitation right. Every time I hear a man say, "I can't see my kids," and the woman's under a court order to let him see them, I don't think they argue enough.
Payne, the leader Tony broke that one down, and the reason why behind that, because a lot of times, a lot of these men who trying to fight for it.
I didn't say fight for custody. I said fight for the rights that you already have so don't get it twisted. I didn't say fight for custody.
I get it.
If you have visitation rights 2 or 3 days a week or a month or whatever it is, and a woman doesn't let you see the kids in your designated time, you should do something about that. Instead of just bitching and moaning, man. You could put a court order.
I get it. You're correct. But the lead attorney is a lawyer who has been dealing with it for more than 20. He said from his experience, a lot of times these women abuse the system. That's why the law needs to be changed to prevent that kind of abuse. In every state, you will hear different story about how people abuse the system.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with what I just said?
I get what you're saying.
No, I'm serious. I'm saying that if I have a court degree when I break up with a woman that I can see my kid twice, 3 times a month, and that's it, and she violates it, then she's violating it. It doesn't matter what state it, or if it's a decree, then she's violating it.
I agree with you 100%. But let's look at it from a young man and young woman, right? Most young men starting out trying to work a regular job, right? You got to take days off to go to court. This is where when this court system come in, because you might have to go to court, and brothers can't afford that. I'm telling you. But the problem is not seeing the child.
That's bullshit, man.
The problem is
it's just absolute bullshit. I mean, they got electronics that you could, there's phones. I mean, listen, for you to say that, listen, if you want your kid, don't tell me because you got to go to the court, say this woman is violating the order, and you got to spend 1 day down there. If your kid ain't worth that, then what the fuck are we talking about?
But 1 day is fine, yes. But then you got 2 or 3, 4 more days. A lot of these low jobs.
Your kid ain't worth 4 days?
No, but a lot of these jobs are paying. Listen, a lot of these jobs, they don't pay you if you don't work. They engineering jobs.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, man.
Brother, that's why you don't have a child out of wedlock.
Yeah, I agree with that. But let's not start giving these kind of false excuses for men not going to try to see their kids.
No, I'm not.
You tell me if you tell me I
you
want
should be able to ride a bike.
If you told me that I've said, hey, RBN, I know he's going to try to kick my ass, but listen, if you see that the courts, or if you have a decree saying you can see your kids 3 days a week, if you give me an excuse that I gotta work, so I'm gonna let the woman get away with it, I don't want to hear it. I just don't want to hear it. But go ahead, man. Hey, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming.
Hey, how you guys doing? I'm just jumping up real quick. I'm just kind of relaxing, for a little bit. But I had to jump in on this piece of the conversation. Shout out David Black. But listen, our Payne. I'm sorry, Trey Ferg. Give me a second. I spent 15 years working for the Urban League, and we had a fatherhood responsibility program. My primary job, because at the time I had a paralegal degree at the time. My primary job was to help secure and advocate for fathers to get custody and access and child support. Now, what I'm about to say is state specific because, believe it or not, custody means something different in every single state. The state where I'm come from, custody only means decision making. It doesn't mean anything else other than decision making. And let me explain to you why our Payne is absolutely correct. See, I'm not here to kick your ass, our Payne. I'm here to come to the rescue for the old man. Here's the thing: there's a couple issues at play here. One, and this is just the nature of being a man. We try to figure out the path of least resistance because we like to make stuff simple. We're basic. 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? White, black. We don't do a whole lot of gray area. So because of that in us, a lot of men do not familiarize themselves with their child support laws in their area. There are some states, child support laws and regulations are set county by county, like in my state. So a lot of times, a lot of guys won't do the homework to understand. Let me give you an example. So I would often get guys coming through the door at the Urban League, and they'd be like, look, man, I went to go file for visitation for my kid, and they just denied me outright. And I would look at them and say, well, yeah, they should have denied you visitation because in the state of Wisconsin, the father doesn't get visitation. He gets physical placement, which is a different request. Of course, you filed a visitation order because you want to give visitation. In the state of Wisconsin, visitation is what grandparents get. So in the state of Wisconsin, The grandparents can actually sue the custodial parents for a visitation schedule with the goddamn grandkids, because Wisconsin believe in have grandparents' rights. So a lot of guys will come in and they wouldn't familiarize themselves with it. And then a lot of guys also, to the point, but I feel it's no excuse, because I did a whole almost 2-hour stream on this. They get caught up in the money. And I understand that. They get caught up in the money, they get caught up in the job. And I tell people this all the time. And I tell them from personal experience, because I did not meet my father until I was 30.
Wow.
Till I was 30. I said to them, in the moment, it feels like this is going to be forever. In the moment, it feels like the end of the world, that you run it in and out of court, you might lose your job. Fuck that job. It is not more important than your own flesh and blood. You might only get 1 day a week or 2 days a week. Let me tell you something. Men, we are, and I've had to tell this. I was a 20-something-year-old man telling 40, 50-year-old men this. We are designed to take on the burden, and we're designed to rebuild. So if you got to lose your job to get access to your kid, lose the fucking job to get access to your kid. If you got to spend $20,000, $30,000 and go in debt and go on ramen noodles, I understand that, but you have to understand, to our Payne's point, is your child not worth that to you in the long run? And let me tell you something, because I've been through fights with my daughter's mother. Let me tell you something. And this is coming from my daughter. She's 9 years old now. Let me tell you something. It does something to them kids when they see you fight. When they see you fight. Let me tell you something what just happened a couple days ago. I live out of state. And my daughter's mother was like, my baby ain't coming down there no more because she don't like the broad that I'm dealing with, right? My daughter in the background go, Mama, you need to knock it out. That's my daddy. 9 years old. And of course, I get on the phone with my daughter and I tell her, baby, you can't talk to your mama like that. Don't get in, this is not your fight. None of that. And my daughter, that motherfucker gut punched me. She said, Daddy, she said, why are you asking me to be quiet about something that I'm right about?
Ooh.
I said, God damn.
God damn.
God damn. You know what I mean? I'm trying to talk to her about respecting her mama and shit, when she don't come and fucking gut punch me. And she's right.
And she's right. Yep.
But no, so to this conversation about that, and I understand what you're saying, Trey Ferg, as much as we want to be sympathetic to the cause, and we feel the brother's pain, we feel the anxiety, we feel the heartbreak, the gut wrench of having to go through that fight. It ain't fair, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, later on in life, as they get older, there's going to come a point whether my daughter's 13, 14, that mother ain't going to be able to stop her from doing shit. And we all know it. I got to stay in the fight until she get there.
That's true. I hear you.
I'm 1,000% agreeing with you. Everything you said, even our Payne. I just think what the message I'm saying ain't coming across in a sense. I would want a guy. This is why I push that not have children at all, based on the spaces that we are in right now today. Yeah. A young 21-year-old boy will be a fool. Avoid it. But I can see the dynamic, because think about when you 18, 19 and you having children, because remember, they having children at 18, 19, not even 21. So he can't really work nowhere, but he's on survival mode because mama ain't did what she had to do to get in. Because remember, sometimes the daddy ain't in their life, so they's trying to just start out, figuring it out. And your message is 1,000% to that area. If you have a child today and you already in it, you go fight for your son or your daughter. I'm 1,000% it, because if you do not, it's going to come back and it will haunt you. And your daughter is trusting her father. She on cruise control now, man.
Yeah, she
is.
That's
what I'm saying. What do you mean by missing your streams, man? Excuse me, Trey Ferg. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I kept telling y'all to come by my stream on Saturday.
Yeah, I came by, man.
So at the end of the stream, I announced that I was ending the Real Bravado Network.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Well,
you don't have to say that. But
yeah. We're ending the Real Bravado Network. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going anywhere.
Okay.
But I went through a whole thing about the Real Vibrato Network. I will be not streaming for a good while. I'll be popping up on Black Men Unfiltered. Y'all my guys now. I mean, y'all can't get rid of me at all. That's it. I'm the dude that showed up at the fucking picnic and be like, cousin, that's me now. But yeah, I got to do some other stuff with my stuff because of some other stuff. But here's what I want to talk about. No, if you're a young man now, and I will beg you, don't do this shit. Let me tell you how cold-blooded Wisconsin is. These motherfuckers cold, boy. So if you are a young man, 18, 19, 20 years, let's say 19, you knock a chick up, right? She ain't got no medical insurance. You ain't got no medical insurance. So that baby gets born under Medicaid, right?
Yep.
So they automatically, once they prove you to be the father, they automatically assess the father with birthing costs, which is in Wisconsin at that time was $1,500. Now I think it's like close to $3,000 in birthing costs in Wisconsin. When you get so you got a $3,000 bill right off the gate, right? The moment that bill goes 31 days, they assess you a felony automatically. So if it's a felony, for every $1,000 you are behind in child support. So in theory, a 19-year-old, 18-year-old who knock up his girl before he barely get out of school can be walking down the street with 3 felonies off the rip. And you know, when you out here trying to apply for jobs, look, you can't get financial aid as a felon. Right. It don't matter what the felon is. You can't get financial aid. There's certain jobs. There's some branches of the military that you can't go into if you're a felon. Now the Marines, they'll take damn near anything. They'll take damn near anything. Yeah. You know,
but let me ask you this. If you have like the 2 16-year-olds, the girl gets pregnant, the guy's 16, don't they assess the grandparents to pay money on both sides?
No.
In some states, right?
No, they assess the father.
Okay.
At 16 in my state. So this is all state specific stuff. So in my state,
no matter how old he is,
16, he the father. That's his bill. His child support.
Yes, sir. That's some of that grooming now, Payne. That's some of that rhetoric that we still have to fight. That's what I'm saying. And I understand Texas, they put that on your credit report. Illinois, you know what I'm saying, they do the same thing, but they're gonna get the DNA. It all comes down to the DNA. That's when they start adding up the birth. In some states, they charge $6,000 when you go into court. It's already on your tag once they get that determination of the father. That's why I tell a brother, and that's why brothers get no such way. They already coming in the bag.
Yep.
Don't have no children.
Listen, everybody. We're gonna end it. We're gonna end this live though. I appreciate you coming up, RBN, and we've been around the world. We've been around the world on this one.
This is a hot topic, man.
It's funny in every direction. There's another stream, of information in every direction you go. We could talk about these things all night, man. And even if we have like solutions, like this whole point where you got to assess every state that you're in, not only for your child support, but for marriage, for all that stuff. You're gonna get married. It's different almost in every state as well.
You better check out the laws.
Yeah, so you got to look all that stuff up. So you got to be a semi-lawyer just to get married a little bit, if you're really concerned about it.
In South Carolina, if you want to get a divorce, you gotta file. They'll grant a divorce, but then you gotta wait. They give you a year cooling off period before they make it final. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. You divorce this person, but you can't do nothing for a year. You can't remarry.
If she gets pregnant, the kid's yours.
Yeah, that's across the board almost.
And that's across the board almost. Yeah, man, forget it. Well, anyway, gentlemen, and this, let's leave this. I appreciate everybody coming up, man. People in the chat. I know it's been a good conversation, and thanks for chiming in. But let's call it a night. Wherever you at, Black David, take us out of here.
Subscribe now.